Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. I'm your host with the silent G, Kyle, and as always, joined by my pal, my confidant, my partner in manslaughter. No.
No,
Let me ask Natalie, by the way. Hey, Natalie, how are you?
it's me. Hi, I'm good.
Have you ever killed anyone with a car before?
No, I haven't actually.
Hmm. Okay.
No. Have
Me
you?
neither. No, 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 no. Me neither.
No, we definitely haven't.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. I'm really excited. So now, granted, we haven't killed anyone with our cars, especially not on any 4th of July weekends. But I can tell you one thing we did last summer. You know what that is?
No.
We started a dang old podcast, Natalie. Can you fucking believe it?
You're right. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did do that last summer.
We're not going to do this for every kind of like round number episode milestone, but we are at 50 episodes, and that's pretty exciting.
That
So
is very exciting.
I know. I'm really proud of us. 50 episodes. I think we're like the little engine that could. But our little engine has like those little like blood cannons like from 13 Ghosts. So just imagine like a cute little engine going just spraying blood all over the place. I like that. That's kind of how I think we are. What better way to commemorate this occasion and time it right with the 4th of July holiday? Let's talk about the Kevin Williamson penned
Of
1997
course.
slasher. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
What a perfect 4th of July 50th episode movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This movie is like whatever frog the Croker Festival's named after. It's got its warts, right? Yeah, are you following?
I'm following.
So,
Just
and this movie, surprised to hear that it was originally written much earlier than Scream. And I'm sorry, Scream's going to be brought up at least a couple times because
yeah.
if Scream was that first step in kind of, opening the floodgates for a new type of late 90s slasher, this seemed like the first to kind of arrive in its shadow. It came out maybe a couple months before Scream 2, and they
Hmm.
rushed that shit. The movie was actually written much earlier in the late 80s, and then they finally rushed it out when, Kevin Williamson's Scream took off so fucking huge. So they're like, let's rush this fucking thing out. So it can't help but always feel compared and in the shadow of Scream, even though it was written prior.
Okay, one, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
That's a new fun fact for me. Two, I don't think that it matters because even if it was written prior to Scream, I would bet that there were changes made because of Scream and the way that it's marketed and the people who were casted. Like, I think all of that has to do, like, all of those things are going to tie back to Scream. And the fact that they pushed it to be released before Scream 2. Like, obviously, all of that is strategy.
Damn, that shit's really the year of Sarah Michelle Gellar, huh? Between like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't Buffy come out that year too? And then having Scream 2?
96.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so 96, Buffy, and then following up with both of those movies. That's pretty dope.
Because this is season two Buffy hair. That's how I know like where it lines up with Buffy is how Sarah Michelle Gellar's hair looks.
Doesn't her hair look better after it gets like whatever she
Oh, because
does to
that's
get?
her actual hair. She's wearing a
Yeah.
terrible wig.
Oh my gosh. That
Yeah.
fisherman was doing her a favor.
He was like, girl, let me take you to the salon in bed. You're gonna be thanking me in the morning.
Yeah, if you're not going to do it yourself, I need to give you a reason to go back. It's to that salon. I'll get there.
We'll get
Um,
there.
so yeah, there's a couple parts in this movie when I was watching it when I was like, oh, I think this was glammed up a little bit. I think to make it a little bit more like Scream. I mean, like at least just off the top of my head, like the Angela Lansbury and the Jodie Foster Silence of the Lambs references when they're going to see
Hmm.
Missy,
Hmm.
things like that. Um, you remember first watching this movie? Share some of that.
I saw this movie in the theater. I want to say I saw it with my mom.
Hell yeah.
And obviously, I was drawn to it because of Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I was like in full Buffy mode at that time. So, I mean, anything that she was in, I would watch. So I did see this in the theater. I loved it. We would have been like 10 at the time. I thought it was great when I saw
Yeah.
it as a kid. My feelings have definitely evolved. I won't say that they've like changed completely, but they've evolved as I've aged. But I really loved it, and I think I like bought it on like video as soon as it came out and watched it like all the time. So I've seen this movie a lot.
This, Scream, Scream 2, Urban Legend, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, all of
Mhm.
that was just on a rotation.
Mhm.
Um, I love the idea of like slasher murder mysteries, and
Yeah.
I just needed more, right? After Scream, and pretty simple, basic premise, you know. Um, and I like this cast a lot, you know.
It's a great cast.
I think so too. Dare I say
A
stacked,
stacked cast. I was just waiting
right?
for it.
Um, you've got Jennifer Love Hewitt for maybe some of the shit I've talked during this podcast. Like, I do like her in this movie. She is boring as hell, but
Julie's Julie is the worst. No, Ray is the worst, but Julie is one of the worst.
yeah, it depends. Sometimes I'm harder on
Uh,
them, sometimes I don't know. But I'm watching this. I'm gonna just go by at least my last watch, which I did immediately prior to recording this. He does sell this just dopey ass. Like,
the tone of
what?
his voice is, don't you feel like the tone of his voice in this movie is different than how he speaks in every other movie?
It's called acting, Natalie.
No, no. It's like he decided that Ray was going to be fucking dumb and was like, how would this really stupid kid talk? And he just does this like, I can't do it because I'm not a man, but it's just very like,
Go ahead, try it.
I'm not going to try it. I'm not as good as impressions as you are.
I wouldn't say I'm good, but thank you. Um, so we mentioned Sarah Michelle Gellar, who, you know, just I think just plays the much more entertaining, honestly, much more empathetic too, or
No,
sympathetic character.
for sure.
I feel so bad for Helen in this movie. God
Helen
damn.
does not deserve any of what happened to her. Like
No.
she's my favorite. And it's not just because she's Sarah Michelle Gellar. I think Sarah Michelle Gellar made Helen too interesting. Like
Hmm.
to the point where like it kind of takes away from Julie because I don't think I've talked to anyone about this movie that doesn't feel like Helen should have been the one to make it out of this alive.
And to round out our main four, we've got I don't know, sorry y'all. We tried Googling how to pronounce it, and we're getting multiple different pronunciations of his
Yeah.
name. We want to say it's Ryan Felipe, but
It was
one
Ryan
one
Philippe. That's how I said it
Felipe.
for a long time. But I don't know if that's correct. Either way, I love him and had the biggest crush on him.
I don't know if I knew anybody in high school that was like that much of just this just rage-filled just fucking prick all the fucking time, because that's
No.
all his energy is. It's just this dumb, or just well, he's not dumb. He's smart, but he's like, you know, this just angry rich asshole.
So is
You
it
know?
terrible? Is it terrible that I would have wished that he lived over Ray, even though he's such a fucking asshole, just because he's more interesting?
I agree too, even though, and again, that's the issue with I think a lot of slashers is your more interesting characters, especially the characters that are like kind of like real bravado dickheads. Um, they always tend to die.
Have there been any movies where they flip that and just maybe they have that boring like couple and the really wild couple and the wild couple is the one that like ends up making it through the movie because that would be really fun to watch like them just going for it. I can't think of one.
I think the only movie I can think of, or I was like, oh, I was not suspecting them to live, was Thomas Jane and LL Cool J in
Yeah,
Hey
but
Everybody, listen to our episode on Deep Blue Sea.
that's a very different type of situation.
Are you talking about relationship wise or being chased by sharks?
Like a final couple that isn't the boring couple that survives.
Yeah. Right, because we really wanted that. I forget their names already from Chopping Mall, but they owned the nice
Yes.
little car mechanic thing that they spent all their honeymoon money on.
They were the in-between couple. because they were responsible, but still more fun. Then you had like the dorks, the two dorky ones that were a couple, and then you had the wild ones that were the couple. So they had all levels.
You've got Muse Watson, who is in this movie and the sequel, playing Ben Willis, our fisherman. Um, the fisherman aesthetic, like the hat with the slicker and the hook, how do you feel that compares to its contemporaries? Of course, Ghostface is number one, but I'm thinking, the Cupid from Valentine's Day or from Valentine or the parka from Urban Legend. Like, where do you, I
Mm.
don't know. Do you find this fisherman effective or scary?
No, not at all. And the only one that you brought up that I think would be like maybe equally as lame is the parka from Urban Legend. Like both of those are not scary. And but this one, the fisherman hides the face even less, I think, than the parka. So you're just
Mhm.
really relying on the shadows to keep your face concealed, which I think is just a real risk. I don't think it's scary. I don't think Ben Willis is scary. I think it's so fucking dumb. So that's one of my like biggest complaints of this movie is the killer, the costume, all of that is just bullshit. That's how I fucking feel about it. How do you feel about it, Kyle?
I like it. I don't know. Like, is a hook a very impractical weapon
Yeah.
for slashing? Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. It's just very slow and I just it
The
doesn't work the same.
angle, you have to like if you all could see, like I'm like you have to like swing your hand a certain way. It feels uncomfortable. And like Candyman had a hook actually in his fucking like lodged in his arm. That's way scarier than just holding a hook on a little handle.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair. I do think as far as frightening hooked people, yeah, definitely Candyman is much more frightening than Ben Willis. But I do like the aesthetic of the fisherman situation,
I hate it.
Um,
I hate it so much.
okay, well, genius, fuck me then. Um, you've got Johnny Galecki, who, I mean, I knew him from Roseanne, of course, from
Mhm.
this, and then he ends up being like a definitely the richest person out of this entire group for
I
being
think
on that
so,
show.
yeah. The Big Bang
Yeah.
Theory. Is it or right? Yeah.
I always want to say Third Rock from the Sun,
You I knew that's
but
where
it's
you were
not.
gonna go.
Um, and you've got Bridget Wilson or Bridget Wilson Sampras now.
I love her.
Um, gosh, she had an impression on me. By the time I was 10 years old, I'm thinking like Billy Madison,
Uh-huh.
Mortal Kombat in
Uh-huh.
this movie. I'm like,
Yeah.
she is a fucking superstar in my
Yeah.
eyes. Is
Yeah.
in my 10-year-old eyes, she is a fucking queen and she is a superstar.
Uh-huh.
So can I give
Yeah.
an industry legend award to Bridget Wilson?
Oh, yeah, for sure. She definitely gets one.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you. Did we give one to Sarah Michelle Gellar already?
No, because she wasn't a lead in any of the movies. Well, she's only been in Scream 2 that we've talked about, right?
Right. We probably mentioned her a little bit during Buffy.
But
Yeah,
we haven't officially given her an industry legend award. So she definitely she gets one for sure.
100%.
hmm
Dang.
And Scooby-Doo as well. So
Oh, yeah, that's true. Ah,
mhm.
gosh, even
And The Grudge, which I love.
even Ryan Felipe.
This and that movie Wish Upon, where
Yeah,
he is the dad, which is already wild in itself, but he he plays the sexiest saxophone
yeah, he
with his
does.
band.
Ooh, that'd be a fun one to talk about.
Yeah.
He like um Paul Rudd, he does not age. He yeah. He is like
Don't worry. I'll get into how he looks later. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Oh,
do you ever see 6 Days, 7 Nights with her and
yeah,
Harrison Ford?
I
Yeah.
have. I like that movie actually.
And that Gus Van Sant Psycho, which
Hmm.
I, from the very beginning of this podcast, I was like, should we watch this movie? And I keep kind of like rescinding it quietly, being like, no, I just it's
Nope,
so bad.
nope. Here we go again. Nope. In the beginning, yes, you did mention it a couple times, but you
Yeah.
have not brought it up. We have talked about what movies we're going to cover, just for the record, everyone. We've talked about this month after month after month, and I have not heard 1998 Psycho come up again. So your quietly nudging is completely silent.
I said I was rescinding it each time, and I was doing that before
No.
I brought it to you. I was quietly rescinding it back to myself. I was like, we're not going to do this.
We should though. I think we should. Wouldn't it be more fun to do that than than like the original Psycho?
Probably. Maybe we just put up for a poll or something. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
Just say, like, which one do you want us to watch? Or
Yeah.
both. This movie that I mentioned before is written by Kevin Williamson.
Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah, based on the novel from the 70s by Lois Duncan. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I tried to read that book. Did you ever read it?
No, I've never read it, but I've read about it, and from what I understand, it is very different than this movie that we're talking about now.
Main differences are no one dies.
Mm.
They hit a kid,
Oh,
and they do kill this kid.
damn.
Yeah, it's a little more brutal in that regard, right? Because they
Okay.
don't actually kill anybody in this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and even if they did, he was just off murdering somebody else. So fucking no harm, no
There's
foul,
so many problems.
right? Basically, the twist is Julie's dating somebody new.
Mm.
It's Ray that went off to college.
Oh, interesting.
Ray
Okay.
comes back. She's dating somebody new, isn't interested in Ray. And the dude that she's dating um, turns out to be the brother of the kid that died. So he tries to kill her, but Ray saves the
Oh,
day. And yeah, so and then that's basically it.
that's fun. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind that too much.
Yeah. Kevin Williamson was like, how about
But what if?
what if it was a fisherman with a big old giant hook and we cut up some of these kids?
Oh yeah, you had to. I would be real fucking pissed if I read that book and nobody was murdered. I'll tell you right now, I would burn that shit right after I finished reading just to make sure that there were no murders.
Okay, well, I'm glad I spoiled it for you. I'm glad you didn't waste your time reading the
I
book, huh?
know. Thank you so much. The dialogue in this movie is very Kevin Williamson in the late 90s. Like it reminds me more of Dawson's Creek than anything else, the way that
Mm-hmm.
they interact with each other. If anyone has ever, Kyle and I have watched Dawson's Creek. If anyone else has watched Dawson's Creek, you know exactly what we're talking about because some of the stuff that they say is just so fucking unbelievable that it would come out of anyone's mouth, let alone a bunch of 18-year-olds.
Like Shakespeare. No one was talking like that either. Same situation. The other thing with this movie, it's funny, it's like what Scream did for a telephone ringing. I Know What You Did Last Summer did for receiving mail. So I just get so tense now. I always get tense when I receive mail. I
You
don't like getting them.
really?
And it's mostly bills and shit, or some it's all or
But if it's a
garbage.
handwritten envelope,
Oh, I don't like that either.
well, everyone get ready for me to start sending creepy mail to Kyle
That's
with no
awful.
return address.
Ugh. So, you want to hop into this movie?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, this movie takes place in Southport, North Carolina, filmed in California for most of this.
Oh yeah, for sure. It looks like California.
Yeah. Now, I think all of like the docks and shit and then a lot of the interior, like the buildings, like the theater and the department store, like all of that is in North Carolina. But the beach and where like the windy roads are, like that's definitely,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's definitely the one going up
Yeah.
the coast. Which I'm like, I must have driven on that turn at some point because I've done that trip, or at least
Mm-hmm.
between San Diego and San Francisco when I was living there at the time.
Yeah.
So it's longer now. Generally, now I did that only once because I was like to just take the fucking five through the grapevine. Like, yeah, it smells like
Mm-hmm.
cow shit most of the time, but
Yeah.
then it gets but then if you cut out through Gilroy, it smells like garlic. So there you go. You get a a banquet, a spectrum of smells, if you will.
Garlic and cow shit. What a banquet.
Yeah. So the movie opens with yeah, and again, this the only reason I know who Typo Negative and like Kula Shaker are just like because like they're on the soundtracks for like these movies, you know. So it's
The music in this whole movie is so late 90s. This
100%.
opening song, like it really sets the tone for how like serious this whole movie is going to be.
That cover of Summer Breeze, yeah.
Hmm.
Which is pretty bad, but also I like it. You know,
Of course you do.
I love that Kula Shaker cover of Hush. It's awesome.
Oh, that one's really good. Yeah. And I feel like that's the song that most people remember from the soundtrack of this movie.
Yeah. Ugh, does not hold a candle to Red Right Hand, though. As far as like,
No.
songs that are synonymous with your late 90s slashers.
Such a specific genre.
Yeah. That and like Total Eclipse of the Heart
Oh,
from
that's a
Urban
good one.
Legend.
That might be my favorite.
Ooh, no, it's always gonna be Nick Cave for me. But close second though. Um, so we open on these cliffs and you see a dude in his overalls looking kind of like Luigi, just sitting, getting drunk. Um, and he's got this little what is that thing that says I love you on it? What is it?
I think it's just a pendant that you can engrave like with a message, and so it just flips. Like you have
Mhm.
two ways you can wear it.
This we're led to believe is David Egan.
That is David Egan. We're not led to believe it is him.
Sure. Okay, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever. But so he's sitting there getting drunk. He hears some sounds around him, some little shuffling in the bushes. And then we cut away. So we don't know exactly what happens to him.
Hmm.
Or at least everyone's led to believe that he, kills himself by
Hmm.
drowning somehow, which I'm like, the family, Missy even had what she thought was a suicide note. And I'm like,
I
again,
think he
like,
was going to commit suicide, but then ended up getting murdered. This is the thing.
mm,
The story, I feel like there's a lot going on. It's very convoluted, but I thought he got drunk, was mourning his dead lover, and did write a suicide note and was going to commit suicide and then got murdered. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Ben Willis wrote the suicide note.
yeah, of course he did.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay. I did.
It's in the same handwriting. Yeah.
Okay.
This
So
movie
20,
is,
27 years later, mystery solved.
yeah, like because the note was about what he did the previous summer. So, okay, so 19, the summer of 19, so let's say the summer of 1997 is
Okay.
when the fisherman's killing people. The summer
Uh-huh.
of 1996, that's when Ben Willis kills David Egan,
Got it.
who may or may not have been going to kill himself anyway, but I don't think so.
You just think
I
he
don't
was
think
just
he,
drunk, mourning, having a tough time.
yeah, and just
Okay.
there, like at the anniversary, because in the summer of 95, there was a there was a car accident
Hmm.
involving David
Susie.
Egan and Susie Willis, who is the
Hmm.
daughter of Ben Willis.
Yes.
That tracks.
Yes. Yeah, that all works for me. I just thought that he actually did commit suicide. Or no,
Mm,
I'm sorry. I thought he was going to commit suicide
I don't know.
and just got murdered along the way.
The last we see of him, he's looking up. There's some fireworks that go off. And then we cut over to the Croker Festival that they have every 4th of July. With you got your parades, you've got your fun carnival-ish events, right?
Hmm.
And then you've got your Croker.
It looks like a good time, honestly.
Yeah, that actually does seem pretty fun. Like in like a
Yeah.
small town like that, I'm just like,
Hmm.
I would be, I would dress to the nines and enjoy the shit out of that
Throw that
sort of
cardigan
festival.
on.
100%. Get my fanciest cardigan, get my fanciest Fisher hat, get my shiniest little hood, and just walk around and just, I don't know, enjoy that shit. I don't get why they call it the croaker. I guess just because must be a lot of frogs. I didn't hear a single frog in this movie, did you?
Me either. No,
Yeah.
I don't know
So
why.
you're introduced to your group, your main group, Ray, Julie, Barry and Helen, who is on stage, um, just fucking just cleaning up. Just fucking, it's not even close.
There was
It's
no
gonna
one else who was going to win.
No one else is gonna win. I think they were just gonna have to be like, hey, maybe we just don't have a winner this year if she wasn't in it. Because I mean, those other women were fine, you know. I just didn't have the talent, the the bravado that Sarah Michelle Gellar brings, you know.
I think what is my biggest question and always has been, and I don't think there will ever be an answer, but maybe you might have an answer. Is this an all ages beauty pageant? Because you're seeing a range of women up there. Like, presumably Helen's 18 because they
Yeah,
graduated. And like there are women up there that look like they could be 30 plus. And then later in
definitely.
the movie, that woman looks like she's like 40 plus. So I'm like, is it like all ages? Which great for them, like being inclusive. But I'm just wondering what the situation is there.
I don't think they should keep parading like 18-year-olds out there, you know.
Well, beauty pageants
So
in itself, like I'm not here to talk about the morality of beauty pageants. I'm just wondering who is allowed to participate in this beauty pageant.
my understanding of beauty pageants comes from the Croaker Queen Festival and a soundless miscongeniality on the back of a plane seat. So
So maybe you're not the right person to ask, is what you're saying.
a little bit. Um, so she wins. They're having you know, like I said, party out like on the docks and the streets and shit. Um, just Barry just being just the
Very.
loudest, most obnoxious fucking dick. But I love his energy. He's fun.
So his behavior is just outrageous. Like he's a total dick. I can't understand why anyone would want to be friends with him. But what is the best thing about the best thing about Barry is how Helen reacts to Barry because everything that he does that's stupid and fucked up, she's just very like she's just here for it. Like she's just along for the ride. Whether he's super shit faced, whether he's being nice, whether he's being mean, beating up people, choking his friends, like she's just like, well, that's just Barry. So I really enjoy watching her react to his behavior.
When they're on the beach, like making out, and she's talking about how, like, I'm going to New York, I'm going to do my guiding light or whatever, 2 contract season on a soap opera.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be the star quarterback for not the Steelers, the Cowboys. And she says, like, oh, and then we'll elope. You'll impregnate me with our first of 3 children.
Yeah. Ew, what a
And,
gross way to
and
say that.
yeah, and she's like, and she includes him going to rehab
I wrote that down
as
too. I was like, did she mean like because I was like, is she meaning like rehab like for substance abuse, or is she meaning rehab for like maybe a physical injury because he's in sports, like rehabilitation? I'm assuming she means actual like AA for him specifically.
I just like that that's a part of her plan. It's
I
either, I
know.
guess, rehab for you'll inevitably or be hurt at some point.
Uh-huh.
That's still kind of weird on its
It's
own.
still weird, yeah. She's just being realistic. She's like, listen, it's not gonna be perfect. You are gonna end up in rehab at some point. And that's part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. It's fine.
He is the luckiest man. He does not deserve her because she is
No.
patient and she is kind.
Yeah.
Jeez. We're also introduced to Max, played by Johnny Galecki, a little bit before they get to the beach.
Such a weird character.
Such a weird character. He was supposed to live originally.
Oh. But they were like, we need to kill somebody sooner.
Yeah, poor Johnny Galecki. He was just like, "Oh, dude, I'm signing on to, like, you know, let's see if get some sequel action. You know, maybe blah blah blah. They'll bring me back. I'll get a bigger role, kind of like Randy in the sequel. Who knows? I don't
Did you
know.
want more Max?
No, absolutely not.
His only character trait is that he seems to hate everyone except for Julie.
Yeah, poor Max. Max probably feels like he's being all like friend zoned and shit. You know, so you don't have to like Max that much, but he doesn't deserve to die.
He
Like,
doesn't. I don't understand why he dies at all.
well, because they wanted to add a kill because at that
I
point,
mean, story wise,
yeah, because ultimately
he
your
was
first
just
kill was
there.
going to be Barry.
Yeah, I guess so. Which would have been a while in. Like, what, an hour?
Yeah. Well, same reason why they added Principal Himbry's death in Scream, right? Is because
Hmm.
after that opening scene, it's basically Casey and then Tatum,
Yeah.
which feels like way at the end of that movie, you
Hmm.
know? So, I get it. Slashers, they're just like, hey, we got to add in some more kills.
I don't mind it. What else was Max going to do other than be a red herring?
Yeah, right. And there are a lot of red herrings in this movie.
And honestly, all of them would have been a better option than Ben Willis.
We're also introduced to, again, I just feel so bad for Helen because we're introduced to her sister Elsa, who like almost
Oh,
sounds nice at first, being like, hey, do you need a ride home? And then Helen's just like, oh no, I'm good. And then she's like, well, fine, fuck you, bitch. You're gonna be washed up and no one gives a fuck about your dumb little life. And you're like, whoa, okay, okay, okay. Jesus Christ.
so Elsa's so terrible. I wish she would have gotten a better death. And I think I wrote down twice, Elsa's so terrible to Helen. I didn't realize I had already written it, but she's never nice to her at all. The whole movie.
Nobody is nice to Helen. Like, I don't think Julie's
No.
very nice to Helen in this movie.
No.
Barry certainly, well, maybe Barry kind of is for like half a second, but then he just gets hooked.
Maybe she was just looking for love. So she just dealt with Barry because everyone was so mean to her. Because it seems like her dad ignores her. Her
Yeah.
sister's a total bitch. Julie isn't friends with her anymore. Like it's a lot. It's a lot for Helen.
Yeah. Like, I get where Elsa's feeling like, oh, you get all the attention and this and this. And maybe if it wasn't for hitting that dude with a car, maybe she would be more successful and their dreams would have come true in New York or wherever the fuck.
I don't think
Um,
so.
I don't think so either.
Mm-mm.
Right.
We can blame it
So
on that, but
yeah, I was like, y'all can blame your shitty lives on maybe this one super traumatic experience that you had. But let's
we're
let's
not
be
buying it.
real. Yeah, Ray, what was Ray's plan? Like, he's gonna go to like New
That what
York
he
and
I thought that was
be a
his plan.
poet?
Was he gonna just follow Julie? That was his
Well,
plan?
no, she's going to Boston College in Massachusetts.
So what the fuck was his plan?
Going to New York. And then she was like,
So
oh,
him and Helen were just gonna go to New York.
maybe that's what happened. I mean, fuck, they get married in real life.
That's true.
The one thing I made a note of is, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, of course, married.
Hmm.
They never say a word to each other the entire movie.
No way.
Yeah, everybody interacts with everybody except Helen and Ray.
That's so
There's only one
funny.
scene later on in the movie after they're leaving the hospital, and Julie's like, "There is no us, motherfucker," and leaves. And then there's just one brief period where it's only Helen and Ray on screen, and she just kind of looks at him and just walks away. Just with this kind of like, ooh, oh.
Maybe they were like, oh my goodness, the sexual tension between these two actors is way too much. We cannot let them exchange words. Otherwise, no one's going to believe that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are supposed to be like a thing. Because they also have no chemistry.
No, they don't. Like,
Mm.
Julie's right to be like, look, there is no us. Like, I don't want you in my life.
Yeah,
Get it
we
right.
can tell. We can tell.
So they also sit around the campfire telling their different versions of the dude with the hook story.
On Dawson's Beach.
On Dawson's Beach. Yeah, no, I roll. I know. Yeah, I wonder if the guys from Urban Legend looked at this movie and said, yeah, but what if we do it with like 5, 6 different urban legends instead of like making a whole movie
Mhm.
just about a dude with a hook?
I also wonder, did Ben
Mhm.
Willis get his idea for the hook thing because they like was he listening on the beach or actually I think they bring it up again when they're dumping his body. But I wonder, I'm like, was he going to use a hook all along or was he like, oh, I'm gonna use this little urban legend that they had in their head?
I really don't know with the hook. I mean, like, maybe I was thinking, like, I don't know. If I was Ben Willis, I was still hit by a fucking car. Like, I'm probably pretty delirious. Like, I don't know if he's like thinking on this, in the back of his head, like, oh, I'll use that. He's already planning his plan to go kill
I mean,
them a
obviously
year
he was
later.
angry.
Well, because that's his whole shtick that you see is that he gets angry about something, waits to the anniversary to do it or to, respond in kind, right? And then when he's hit as they're dragging him, he's just like, just thinking all this, like, oh, maybe I'll be a fisherman. He already was a fisherman.
Yeah.
And thinking like, oh, I'll use the hook because he brings up the hook.
Hmm.
Um, or the likelihood is that he probably just, well, Barry uses that hook first when he's threatening Max,
Mm.
and the fisherman is like, yeah, that'll work. Let's do that. Hey, this might be a good kill. And it was a good kill.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe you're right. And yeah, that is, I think it's a pretty good one.
He's like, so I'll just use this. This works.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe Barry inspired him.
So Barry's fucking drunk. They get in the car. Ray's driving.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What? What? Ooh, what? What am I missing?
You skipped some very important things. Julie and Ray are having a totally different experience than Helen and Barry because Helen and Barry are just like planning their future, fucking away on the beach. And it's very
Hmm.
clear that it is Julie and Ray's first time.
Yeah.
And the reason why I went back to this is because I cannot believe that anyone would have their first time of having sex on a beach or that you would want to have sex on a beach at all. And do they even have a blanket?
No plan at all. They're teenagers. Come on.
I just hate that so much. I hate it so much. I can't stand that they would have sex on the beach the first time that they have sex.
Haven't we had this conversation already? Like, if you're a teenager, you just kind of it was
Gonna fuck
Jennifer's body.
anywhere.
Yeah, look, you're
Yeah.
it's if it's a old haunted house, or if it's some spooky abandoned construction site, or if it's like by like ship wreckage, the fuck that boat's doing there on the beach. I don't blame them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just wish they would have had a blanket. I'm just thinking about sand in not great places.
100%. Now, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I still agree that that sounds very uncomfortable, but I
Yeah.
don't, I don't hold that against them. Um,
Yeah.
so
So now they're in the
gosh,
car.
yeah. And Ray's probably feeling like, hell yeah, what a beautiful night. She's gonna remember
Hmm.
this. Her and I, we're gonna be together forever.
Oh, for
And
sure.
now you're just like, fuck. Now this is always gonna be associated with this fucking shit. Just imagine the trauma you have next time you want to have sex on a beach. It's just going to remind me of this time now. I'm sorry. But again, I hope at the end of this movie, once they realize, like, oh, well, he was a murderer first and we didn't even kill him, like, then I would feel like a lot less guilty about this whole situation. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. But okay, knowing what we know in this present moment of the movie, I feel like this is all Ray's fault. And the reason why I say that is because I hate Ray, but also because if you had someone in the car that was as drunk as Barry, like out the sunroof, as soon as he went out, also, I miss sunroofs. As soon as he went out that fucking sunroof and was like screaming and yelling, I'd be like, absolutely not. We're pulling over. We're on a windy road. Why is Ray driving so fast? They're showing him clips of him driving around these corners, just like fucking flooring it in this BMW. I blame this all on him. He should have pulled over and been like, Barry, if you can't get your fucking shit together in this car, I'm closing the sunroof on you. That's it. We're not going anywhere until you can calm down. Ray's fault.
True. I still think it was an accident ultimately. Um, but I don't I can't argue that. But I think ultimately it's not so much about hitting him because like also at the same time, Ben Willis, you are in the middle of the fucking road, dude. Like get the fuck that's on you.
This is like jigsaw logic. Like
Oh, 100%.
his moral compass is so fucked. Like you said, he just got back from murdering someone and
Hmm.
is just walking in the fucking road in the middle of the night. Terrible
Yeah.
decision making.
So that part I still think I'm like, look, that is a lot of people can you can point at a lot of people for that. But I do think Barry very quickly coming to the decision, we're gonna dump this body in the
So
fucking
quickly.
water. I'm like,
Like 30 seconds.
and how quickly everyone's on board with it, like except for Julie. Like you're just like he's like saying like, ah, Jesus, we're gonna take the fry no matter who takes the fall, or we're gonna fry no matter who takes the fall. Of course, that's not true. That's not how this
It's
works.
it's not true. I also love that Ray brings up like he's like my family doesn't have money. I'm not going to be able to like lawyer my way out of this. And I'm like, y'all, it's manslaughter. Like, and also, if they would have just reported it, we would have found out that that motherfucker wasn't even dead. So, like, y'all would have been okay. You're a bunch of white kids. You would have been fine. Like, they would have gotten a slap on the wrist. They still all would have went to college, like maybe some fucking community service. And I think they would have gotten out of it like super easily.
100%. Now, I do get where Ray's coming from when he does say, hey, I don't have the family or the money to at least get cleared of this easily.
Yeah,
And I was the one driving the car. Now I'm covered in alcohol. Like, now granted,
you
like, yeah,
definitely get a
well, take,
DUI.
or well, it takes a breathalyzer and they'd find that he's fine.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I still think that,
They did have
you
an
know,
open container though in the car.
yeah. And, if I was, Ben Willis's attorney, which, yeah, I'd be like, I don't know, sue those kids. Why do the whole
Yeah.
fisherman route? Like, just be like, you know who did it. You have like the injuries. I don't know how he recovers from all these injuries.
Yeah,
He goes to a
you're
hospital or
going way
something.
ahead, but I also thought the same thing. I'm like, why didn't we just report this to the police? I think it would have been way worse for them. You just wouldn't have killed like he obviously just wanted a reason to kill people.
Yeah, 100%.
He was like waiting for a car to come around the corner.
Well, and then that's also kind of what Sarah Michelle Gellar brings up later on. It's like, maybe he wanted to die, like he was just waiting
Yeah.
there in the road for us, which, Julie's all shitty about it, but I'm like, she,
He's not the worst point in the world.
yeah, hey, Helen's trying,
Yeah.
So they are driving. They, of course, hit Ben Willis crossing this road. Um, just like just like fucking Pet Cemetery, It's like it's always the shoe or the boot that you find first. And then just
Yeah.
watching this, and I was like, oh, what if there's a foot in that boot?
It looks like an empty boot.
It looks like an empty boot. It's an
Uh-huh.
empty bloody boot, but
Yeah.
I just like the idea of someone getting hit and just like, ooh, and their boots just flying right off. I
Especially
don't know.
like a high like what do you call them?
Yeah, just rubber boots. I don't
Yeah,
know.
just like rubber, like
Fishing
rain
boots.
boots or like fishing
Right.
boots.
Yeah.
Like those go way up on your leg. Like those falling off feels highly unlikely.
Yeah, just like, can't blame Courtney Cox for not being able to feel a pulse uh in Scream 3. Neither can Ray in this movie because he's definitely alive and he's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I pretty think he's dead. I mean,
Oh,
to be
there to
fair,
my and also further making this Ray's fault. If he could fucking properly check a pulse, he'd be fine. My mom taught me how to check my pulse or like a pulse when I was like 8, I think. Like how to like count a healthy like how to count for like heart rate and everything.
oh, I thought you were gonna say like after you all saw this movie in the theater and she's like, here's how you avoid this.
Just
Here's how
in
you check a
case you
pulse
run
safely.
somebody over.
Yeah. Max shows up.
Mm.
Um, again, just to kind of, I don't know, Max, I would have looked at her and be like, this looks like something fucked happened. This looks, I
It
don't, but he's just too busy being an asshole.
it looks like an accident at least happened.
You see him driving over like where there was blood splattered on the road. Like he just drives right over it and he's like, you know,
Well, which is why I thought maybe that would be the reason that Max was killed because it kind of feels like he just kind of turned a blind eye to the situation and didn't report it.
hmm, yeah. So you think when Ben Willis is lying there on the ground and like,
Just taking notes. Write down that plate number.
he's like, I'll remember this asshole. So,
Uh-huh.
okay. So you're right. So maybe Max does deserve to die.
No,
Um,
I did not say that. I did not say that he deserves to die. I actually think he least deserves to die.
I
So,
would think Elsa.
no, she's a fucking bitch. At least Max is like nice to one character. Elsa's mean to everyone. She's even mean to Julie.
Would you be nice to Julie?
Look what the cat drug in. If somebody said that about me, I would have been like, bitch, get out of here with your fucking attitude.
Anyone said that when you walked into a room?
Obviously not.
If this happened, if we hit someone in a car, I was like, hey, Natalie, let's dump this body. How quickly would you be down for this plan?
Would we have been drinking and driving?
I'm the one in the sunroof.
And I was driving,
Yeah,
not drinking, but I have
yeah,
alcohol all over me.
yeah.
Mm, gosh, I I wouldn't be morally opposed to it, but I wouldn't think that we would get away with it. That would be the only reason why I wouldn't. Not for the moral compass of it all, but for the fact that I'd be like, nah, we're not gonna be able to pull this shit off. Like, we will definitely be made. And if that happens, it's gonna be way worse if you try to get rid of a body and get caught. So for that reason, no, I would not be on board.
Until you dump the body in the water, as soon as you drop that body in the water, yeah, you have to kind of go full kind of pot committed, right?
Yeah, you're leaving it in nature's hands, really.
Yeah, so it's like you can't tell the cops after this. You're
No,
like, yeah, okay, so maybe we hit a guy, maybe we dumped him in the river. Or but then I guess, or sorry, the ocean. But I guess at the end of the movie, when they're like, "Do you have any reason why this dude would want to kill you?" You know, and they go, "No." Like,
I love that.
do you think if they admitted everything then, it doesn't matter because Ben Willis is or he's gone or missing or tried to kill them right back? Like, if they told the whole story to the cops then, like, okay, yeah, we hit this dude with our car and we did dump him in the water because that still doesn't mean that he's allowed to go murder them,
But
right?
still now
Still against the law.
they've admitted to a crime. Like, I would assume that they would be like held accountable somehow,
Maybe.
right?
Who's left
Okay.
in the Willis family? Oh, outside of sorry, spoiler alert for the sequel. Sorry.
I mean, does it matter who's left? Like, if I'm just trying to like really play this out in my head, if
Yeah.
you thought you murdered someone, dumped their body, they came back, plotted revenge against you, and killed some people, like, you wouldn't just be fine. Like, they would have to like fully investigate you, and like it would be a whole thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Did they check the ID?
No, Julie wanted to, and they did not
Yeah.
check the ID.
And then when Helen's about to check, that's when he's clearly still alive
Clearly still
because
alive, grabs that crown right off her fucking head.
so I don't know why they were ever super confident that they killed somebody.
No, like they didn't notice him breathing or like the warmth of his body when they were
So
carrying him. Like, he'd have like body heat. He was just unconscious.
it's a July night, but you're right by the ocean. You know, it's a little cold out.
But like, I think you could tell the difference between a fucking cold, limp, dead body and a living body, even if it was cold. I don't know.
And even when Barry goes down to get the crown, like he sees his eyes open, you
No,
know?
he's clearly very much alive.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm like, they seem so convinced though that they killed somebody. And that's only because they just
Well,
happened
they
to
killed him
find
because they drowned him at that point. Like, that's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, oh, this guy was still partially alive and maybe he couldn't swim back up to the surface. So he's fucking dead now if he wasn't already.
well, pretty much, and that's what they think would happen, just because
Yeah.
then it's David Egan's body, who was not killed by them, that ultimately
Mhm.
washes ashore. Ben Willis is out just still living his life, doing his whole situation.
Yeah. So that is probably what solidified them thinking that he was dead, or at least for Julie feeling comfortable about that.
I don't know. I know it'd be a tough sell on Helen, but I think if I were Julie, I'd be like, hey, Ray, Helen, let's all turn on Barry. If we all just say it was
Absolutely.
his fault,
He drove. He was drunk.
it's,
It's
it's his
his
car.
car.
He's drunk.
Yeah.
Let's
Fuck
just do it.
Barry. What a dick.
Helen, you don't need him.
Yeah. You could do much better.
That's what I would do. And I think that's what we would do is if, especially if there's a third person, we would plot to throw that other person under the bus.
That's a
Right?
good plan. Yeah, I feel good about that.
I think so too.
Now,
So
anyone who's the third person in the car with us is going to have to think about this.
yeah. Yeah. Then fuck. All right. They're just like, all right, cool. Problem solved. We're good. They make a, they make a pact.
Uh-huh.
Um, Julie is not down. Barry just being as fucking rage filled as he is, just jumps to choking her very quickly in this.
Every decision is made so quickly.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but if I wasn't already going to break up with Ray for this incident, I would break up with him for letting his boy choke me out. Are you kidding, Ray? You're going to
yeah,
let this man grab your girl by the neck?
yeah.
Fuck
Fuck Ray.
Ray. Fuck him so hard. He sucks. That's what I'm saying. Like, Barry may be a fucking dick for choking her out, but it's like, we know Barry's a dick. Ray is just this fucking silent piece of shit, not doing anything or stepping up. Get out of here. I hate him. Ugh.
I mean, sure, but Barry is still the one with his hands on her neck.
No, I'm not saying he's worse than Barry. You keep putting words in my mouth.
Well, you were framing it as if like, yeah, I mean, Barry's a dickhead, but you expect it, so he's just going choking left and right. But
No,
Ray is a fucking silent enemy. He's the silent predator,
he
silent
he
killer.
is a silent enemy, but I'm not saying he's worse than Barry. I'm saying that I think he gets a lot of credit for like being like, oh, the dopey sweet guy, and then really he's just sitting there fucking not doing shit. Fuck Ray.
We hop just about 1 year, 362 days into the
Mm,
future.
good job.
Yeah. And yeah, Julie does this kind of like backwards, she's all that situation where she starts, looking real cute and shit. She's got a whole thing. And then we cut, boy, she looks like a ghost. It is,
I I think they did such a good job of
they put her in
showing
overalls.
her depression through overalls, paleness. She's wearing less makeup. She looks a little tired. Her hair was all cute and like curled in the
Mhm.
beginning of the movie, and now it's all like flat, a little bit shorter. But I mean, I get her roommate calling her pasty because she was quite pale. But her mom says she looks like death. And I'm like, number one, I don't think a mother would ever say that to their child. That's really
Yeah.
mean. Maybe they would. But
Mom's pretty mean.
yeah, but also, like, Jennifer Love Hewitt is a fucking beautiful woman. Like, even pasty and depressed and tired looking, she's so beautiful. I just think it's so funny that, like, everyone tells her she looks like shit. It's terrible.
And the rest of the group looks the exact same. I
Yes.
mean, granted, Barry's really the only one who's like trying to not let things affect him.
Well, he was already in such a bad emotional place already. Like, where did he have to go? He
Yeah.
could just keep handling his emotions through rage.
Just to clarify, this is not supposed to be Carla, correct?
No, this is a different person.
Because she also has a roommate, maybe it's her roommate at the end of the movie in the shower scene, who she calls Deb, who's dropping off
Mhm.
some mail.
Mhm.
Good to have someone that just gives you your mail while you're
I
at the shower at the
know.
dorms.
Thanks, Deb.
Um, but it's a silhouette, so you don't know if it's the same roommate from the beginning of the movie.
True.
So and otherwise they're not named. So a really nice fucking roommate, by the way. I did Google Maps search the trip from how long it takes to drive from Boston College
Yeah.
to Southport, North Carolina. That shit's
Hmm.
17 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They just drive all the way down, and she's just like, all right, cool. See you later. Have fun this summer. Like, you just fucking chauffeured her like 17 hours. I hope
Well,
you live on the way.
I was gonna say she must live somewhere past that for that to make sense.
I guess. I hope so. Cause
Yeah.
fuck.
But either way, very kind of her, yes.
Then you find out that Julie's dad had passed at some point
Mhm.
prior to all of this. Who knows? Or maybe it was Julie's depression that killed him. I don't know. They
Her
never
her
really
fucking
say.
pale ass skin. He was just like,
Yeah.
oh,
I can't believe my
can't
daughter
deal with
backwards.
her.
She's all thatted. Oh no. I have no will to live. And yeah, when she's like, Julie, you're so depressed, you look like shit. And then she's like, your grades, whatever, whatever, even though your summer session went good. She's like, your dad's just rolling in his grave or turning over in his grave. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
These
Like, what?
parents are terrible. And The other interesting thing, the mom says that she received a report card.
Hmm.
Did you notice that? They don't give you fucking report cards to your parents.
In college, I don't
I double checked.
know.
I double checked with the professor, and he said no. If they give you any type of status report, they have to give it to the student because they're fucking adults.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, who's sending you this report card?
They wouldn't send it like to her home address, and then even if it says Julie James on it, her mom just been like, "Ooh, I know what this is. I'm going to open it up anyway." Kind of
No,
situation.
because the address they would give it to her like her current address, her dorm address.
Yeah, but what if it's the spring semester or whatever, and she's left to go home for the summer? Where do they send that mail then? Where do they send that report card, Natalie? Where do
I
they
don't
send it?
I don't think that people are getting report cards, is what I'm saying.
Go back to your professor husband and say, "Hey, bro, well, what about this? What about this situation?" So either way, she gets her note that says, "I know what you did last summer." I like how Barry's like, "Hey, you did a lot of things last summer.
It has to be something else.
It has to be something else."
It could be any
Um,
number of things.
yeah, I know. That would be definitely a completely different movie. It just would not, because everything kind of hinges on the fact that Julie knows, exactly what he's talking about in that letter, which makes sense. That is probably the most traumatic thing that happened to her that summer, correct?
I mean, he doesn't know. Maybe she murdered a bunch of people and she's like, fuck, who is this from?
Yeah, be like, uh-oh. So she's visibly pretty distressed by this, and she's like, I need to go find out how to get a hold of Helen. So
Hmm.
she goes to the department store,
Shivers.
Shivers, right?
Very
um
cute.
Goes to be like, hey Elsa, even though that, again, with that look with the cat drug in
I
kind of
was like,
bullshit
look at this
situation.
fucking piece of shit person that just walked through my door.
But to be fair, like Elsa, even though she doesn't, I guess she doesn't care how, or the means in this case, traumatized by allegedly murdering someone and dumping them in the ocean. She's like lapping this up. She's like, I love
Oh,
that you two are looking fucking terrible.
uh-huh.
I'm glad that, look at this. I am just relishing this moment right now.
She
And I'm
really
like,
is.
God damn, dude, she's just letting fucking
She's a
those kids just
hater.
live
She's a
rent
fucking
free.
hater. Hmm.
Yeah, 100%. So Helen never made it to New York, or she did for a little bit,
Is it
allegedly.
really that bad that she's working for her like family's business? Like,
No,
I'm like, good for her. Like, she's 19 at this
she's 1 year
point.
removed from high school. Jesus Christ,
Yeah, who cares? You live with your parents and you have like a job from them. Fantastic. Good for you. Figure out your shit. You're fine. You're a child.
Theoretically, you're gonna own or co-own this store at some point, maybe,
Yeah.
or at least it'll be in your name, right? I don't know.
Hmm.
Poor Helen, but Helen, like I said, Helen, you're meant to really care for Helen, because like obviously things didn't
Yeah.
go her way. Julie is like, I want nothing to do with fucking any of you, but here I am because I have this fucking letter and I'm forced to be back here. And Helen's like trying. She's like, I miss you, like, hey,
I
let's,
know. It's so sweet. She's trying to rekindle their friendship. But also, like, these two are the worst at like just acting normal. Like if
yeah,
you're thinking something suspicious is going on or you know something suspicious is going on from this note, like the way that they interact with each other and how loud they speak about murdering people in any given venue with parents around or like shoppers around is really funny to me.
yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about, she's like twirling around screaming, what are you waiting for? I'm like, I just feel like looking out my window, being like, what the fuck is this
What is
lady
that girl
talking
doing?
about? What's going on? Why did she run away from her car? What is that man like in broad daylight pulling a body with crabs out? Like, I don't know. So Helen's like, hey, has Barry heard about this? They don't think so. So they go to visit Barry. Barry's doing just fine.
Same old
Just
Barry.
yeah, just being a rich asshole.
Uh-huh.
Again, you don't, yeah, again with the parents, none of them, they're either all gone in Ray's case, or You only see Barry's mom once, just kind of in the
She's
background
on the
on the phone in the
phone.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have at least popped out and been like, hey, girls, nice to see you. Y'all talking about murder? Okay, I'll go make snacks.
and then what's her face? Helen, we only see her dad,
hmm
and he ignores kind of everybody, you know.
But okay, but Barry is like very quick to just like dismiss this. And
Yeah,
for
I love
how
that.
seriously he took this situation from the start, you'd think that he would be a little bit more concerned. And my other question about Barry, I don't know why I never thought about this until this particular watch of this movie. He's wearing
Mhm.
dog tags. Whose are those? Are they his? Is he in the army now?
Maybe they're
What?
his dad's
Yeah, because you don't see his
or his
dad.
mother's. My mother was in the military.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, who do they why is he wearing them if they're not even going to give you any explanation? It just seems strange.
I don't know. They're just so like, hey, what
A
looks cool? Let's do
mystery.
that. Yeah, we want to put you in jewelry, but tough dude jewelry.
Yeah, because you're a tough ass dude
Yeah,
choking
that's
out
the
women.
only. Yeah, oh Jesus. Um, yeah, so they go to his house. Yeah, I love how really until pretty late in the movie, he's not taking this seriously. But maybe it's just because
hmm
he's kind of like sober at this point. Maybe he's the type where like he gets really drunk and just gets really like into things, really intense.
Yeah.
And then yeah, when he sobers up, he's like, oh fuck, I don't know. A lot of things happen during the summer. I don't know. Who's got a letter? A lot of people write letters, but
Yeah.
people like crab. What? That's a big deal. So Barry, to his point, he's like, well, fucking Max, obviously. He was the only one there.
hmm
So we gotta go find Max. Which they do. They go back to the docks. Um, Barry's just like, don't even worry about this. I'm gonna talk to him real quick. Don't even mind me.
Yeah.
Um,
Obviously, I'm gonna go beat the shit out of more people because that is my only solution to every problem.
yeah. Um, I forgot the back at Barry's house when it's just that exchange of Barry being like, we didn't murder anybody. What's the big deal? We didn't murder anyone. And then Julie goes, he was alive when we dumped him in the water. And then if I were Barry, I'd be like, yeah, clearly we didn't murder him. If he was still fucking alive,
Yeah.
you're fine. The water,
Yeah.
the fish eating him killed him. We, come on, get out of here. You know, so he goes and finds Max. Tries to threaten Max, and then that's where you first see this hook. I
hmm
don't know what all goes on this dock that you're like also like steaming the crab. You also have a bunch of just giant ice
Yeah.
blocks just kind of sitting around.
It's clearly not a real dock. Like they were like, I don't know what fishermen do. Just throw some ice over there. Have some sort of kitchen here. And we'll have one area that's really busy and then one really like scary dark area where no one goes. That's what
Yeah,
it's like in real life.
he threatens Max. Max is like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Even though Max, I'd be like, oh, so something did fucking happen last year at that fucking
Yeah, I'd
accident that
be
I saw.
really putting the pieces together. I'd be like, "Do you want to explain this?
Yeah.
Tell me more?"
They also then go and find Ray, not intentionally. I don't know if they
Yeah.
cared to even look for Ray.
It didn't seem like it. Like he just showed up and then all of a sudden is like, "Hey, we need to talk." Like, or do you have a minute to talk? Whatever the fuck he dumb shit he says to Julie.
So Ray's now working on he's a fisherman, just like his dad, who we don't see.
Mhm.
I like he's like, oh yeah, my boat's there at the end. I when he's talking to them, and you see both Helen and Julie turn their heads and look.
Barry doesn't.
Barry doesn't. Barry's like, I don't give a fuck about your
He
stupid
does
fucking
not give a
boat.
shit.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that too.
and and this fun scene I know they've made fun of before, where like it's just Julie and Ray. What does she say? She's like, I want nothing to do with you, or I don't want you in my life,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And then she just like turns around, just like runs away.
She storms off a lot in this movie because she's already stormed off from her mom when she read the
Yeah.
note. She like ran up the stairs and then she does it again here. And then she does it another time too. And I'm just like, girl, you need to learn how to exit a room just with just strength and poise.
Well, it's hard when you're doing it outside on like the docks because it's like he's going to see you for a pretty long time wherever you end up kind of going. I don't know. So you
Yeah.
just need to kind of learn and just find like a building to like turn right behind or something just to kind of get out of sight. I don't know. Um, then we hop back over to Max. It's just like he's just like, oh, I just feel
Uh,
bad because he's just like, I don't like being bullied by this guy.
yeah. And like this is a whole year later. He's like, I haven't even seen you like in forever, man. Like, why are you fucking here?
Yeah, I just feel bad for him, even though he's kind of like slimy and weird, but I don't know. Maybe it's not entirely his fault. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, while he's not my favorite, again, I don't think he deserved to die. But that
No.
being said, I really enjoy the imagery of his death because that hook into his like through his jaw and then the blood like coming across that
Mm,
whatever the fuck that metal countertop situation is. It looks pretty fun.
yeah, it was pretty good. And then
Yeah.
just yeah, like getting turn the shit up so like the steam comes up and you only see kind
Mhm.
of the silhouette of him
Yeah, very
coming through.
cool.
And he has to kind of like squint his eyes and stick his head out to see, and then
Yeah.
just like boom, right underneath. It's a good,
Yeah.
I would say, probably the most graphic kill of the movie.
It's the most graphic kill of the movie, so I don't think they probably should have saved that for later. Like, because both Helen and Barry, you don't see a lot of what happens to them. You just like
Mm-mm.
mostly implied. So I think Max does get the most brutal kill. So it kind of sets the bar high.
The movie originally had like next to no blood in it, and the movie still is pretty bloodless,
Hmm.
comparatively, to its peers. But it must have just been a choice to kind of go back because I know that originally when Elsa dies, like that blood splatter across the
Mm,
door, that wasn't there. That was added after the fact, as
mm.
was Max's death scene. So, and that's really the most just like blood you get is probably just between those two kills.
Yeah, I wish Elsa would have had a better kill too, just because she's so awful. Like it would have been fun to see her really get it. And this is rated R, so I think they could have done more blood, just more violence in general.
So then we cut to your favorite scene, with Barry at his little like night gym.
I didn't say it
Um,
was my favorite scene.
I was just assuming it's your favorite scene when you've
It
got
is.
fucking doing of course you've got the Kula Shaker, cover going. You've got him just fucking, fighting
Mhm.
his little punching bag situation. You got him, shirtless and he's like, let me
You
grab
get a
an
male shower scene. We don't
I
get those
know.
often. And mhm,
Yeah, actually getting a dude in a shower scene like that and
in
being at least
danger.
temporarily stalked and in danger, like in a towel,
Hmm. Hmm.
I was like,
Ugh,
that's
in that towel. Can I just tell you,
sure.
10-year-old Natalie could not handle that situation.
I love
Him
that.
walking around in that towel. So I was so upset when he put clothes back on.
Hmm.
So upset. So
So,
thank you, Kevin Williamson, for that.
so he comes back to, he realizes he's not alone here. Um, Good job, front desk guy, not watching shit. So
I know.
he gets a Polaroid with the note saying "I know,"
Yeah,
and I did think it was pretty funny.
of his
Just
car.
like basically, yeah, a picture of his car and just being like, how about I hit you with the fucking car now,
Yeah,
asshole, and
see
see
how you
how you
fucking
see
like
how you
it.
fucking feel. Yeah. So, um, this is a pretty funny scene. I totally thought he was gonna die here,
Oh, me
and
too. I thought he was dead and just got killed off screen.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm glad they didn't, because like one, it's the fisherman fucking with him, which
Hmm.
is pretty fun, and two, you get more Barry. So
Yeah. We needed more Barry because he's just a loose cannon. So he's fun to watch.
so from here we hop over to the hospital. Pretty serious now. We got hit by a fucking car. This is pretty bad.
Hmm.
Um, I think they're thinking like maybe suggesting like it's got to be Max. Let's go fucking go back and find him.
Hmm.
Um, oh, this is when Julie reveals the name,
Yes.
right? David Egan. Saying like,
Hmm.
hey, I did look it up. I had to know his name is David Egan. He has some family. Let's I know at least they're still deciding, like, we're still not going to the police on this. Which, to be fair, at this point, I don't disagree with them because now at this point, you've killed somebody and like dumped them
Yeah.
in the water. So, like, I don't know. Your best bet would have been to say something immediately.
Yeah, because
So,
if it's a relative getting revenge, like they still have to admit to dumping a body in the water.
yeah.
So that's not a great situation.
Ugh, yeah, no.
And they would have said
Um,
they dumped the wrong person into the water. So then they would have assumed that David Egan didn't commit suicide.
so everybody's upset. They're like, fuck, I mean, I think Barry tries to blame Ray. Um, everyone's getting upset with each other. They leave. Julie again says, like, there is no fucking us, dude. Like, get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here. I don't want to do this. And she takes off. And then this is where we start getting into more of the who is David Egan? Who is
Hmm.
he connected to? Finding out that he is at least survived by a sister. I think I remember them saying he was
Hmm.
survived by two different people.
His
Um,
mother and his
is
sister, because his mother is
oh
still
right,
alive. Yeah.
yeah,
And
right.
this is
She's
like this is where this movie like really feels like it slows down quite a bit. And
mhm.
they could have I feel like we could have trimmed a lot off of this whole researching the background of David Egan.
I think so too. Just because, like I said, it's like what 27 years later, and like we were still not entirely sure what happened in this movie.
Exactly. So if all of that fucking time spent on this story still didn't like slap us in the face, then maybe we just need to just let it go. Just let that shit go.
So you get Julie and Helen that go to find Missy, who's played by Anne Hesh, that's
Mhm.
living in this old house out in the woods with just dead animals hanging from all the trees. Just a
Just by
very
herself.
yeah, just by herself, just a very just spooky situation.
It is.
I know, like Julie's like, oh, we're just gonna go out and just scope it out. I'm like, I don't know, you're in her territory now. Like, I don't know how like you can just show up like unnoticed. Helen's making a fake phone call. They say the car's broken down. Julie's trying to get some information from Missy. Um, and then I get so confused. Like, then there's the Billy Blue part, which we find out is Ray.
There's okay.
Yeah.
These two, again, so suspicious.
Hmm.
Everything that they're asking her, the way that they like facilitate this conversation is really funny. And the way that they like go in with no plan. She's
No.
like, we're just gonna wing this shit. Like, what are the stakes? Us being murdered? Sure.
Yeah.
And they come up with like their fake names and the way that they like say it. Like if you were in a room with two people and they were communicating this way, wouldn't you be like, they're gonna fucking rob me or murder me? Like, right?
100%. Like, yeah, like you're thinking you need to be scared of Missy, but no, I'm like, I don't know
I'd
what
be
these
scared
fucking
of
two women
them.
are up to. I don't fucking know. Um,
Yeah, they're so suspicious. Yeah, and then you learn about Billy Blue, and she makes it sound like they kind of had like a romance.
yeah, they were sweet on each other for like two
Yeah.
minutes, which I don't know how long 2 minutes was. So Ray was good for him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so maybe we did move on a little bit from Julie.
That's a weird way to process that trauma is to go and
Mm-hmm.
have just relations with with his sister.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like, okay,
interesting.
Ray. Yeah. So, and that's again like another red herring. Also, I'm like, there's so many red herrings in this movie. It works out pretty well for Ben Willis. So I'm like, that's why ultimately I'd be like,
Hmm.
why kill Max? Max, they all thought it was Max and would continue
Yeah.
thinking that it was Max.
Yeah.
So all you've
Have
done
your
is
guard
remove
down.
him as a suspect from the
Yep.
situation. So I don't entirely understand that. So she pushes a little bit, just like, do you have any any friends, any good friends? And didn't he yeah, just their whole line of questioning was
Did
just
he hang
pretty
out with
like
that one guy? You know, that guy.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
They're really close, that guy. And she's like, I don't know, like fuck, I'm not when we were like high schoolers, don't know who the fuck my brother's hanging out with. I don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
yeah, but there was this just beautiful dopey man. that came by. Just kept calling himself Billy Blue. Oh my God. That's funny.
What an
I don't
idiot.
know why. And again, I'm so dumb with this movie. Like, this was the first time where I fully realized that Billy Blue was Ray.
What? Really?
I'm so dumb. There's still
That's
shit
why
you're
that's
figuring
why
out too.
Julie,
Get out of
okay.
here.
I felt like that one was pretty obvious.
Once she sees the boat, right?
Yeah.
Or the name of the boat, you know.
Yeah. And then she's like running off in fear, which is why she ends up trusting Ben Willis.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But yeah, I thought that that piece was pretty obvious.
And then I think, they were probably scaring poor Missy. So Missy's like, I'm gonna scare him right back. Just the
Yeah.
most like aggressive way to be like, hey, you forgot your cigarettes.
Yeah.
She really comes up like underneath and sideways and goes,
She does.
hey, just bangs on the window. You're like, Jesus, I'm gonna need one of those cigarettes
I would have
now.
just kept I
Fuck.
would have just kept them. Like I wouldn't have ran all the way to their car. Absolutely not.
Yeah. It feels like almost like one of the last movies where like you have like lead characters that smoke cigarettes, with like
No,
Helen
I think
smoking.
I think it went past 97.
But she didn't I think smoking is probably something she picked up after, right? Because she
Oh,
wasn't
for
smoking,
sure.
I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that was her how she's processing her trauma.
Right.
Julie stayed out
So,
of the sun. Ray fucks the sister and Helen starts smoking.
yeah.
And Barry's just the same old Barry.
Barry's just being buried. He's like,
Hitting
what?
that
What
gym
happened?
hard.
Yeah. So, um, because they didn't say whether or not he like did he go to college and is he a quarterback and he's just home for the summer? I don't know if things
They
fell apart
don't
for him.
they don't really say. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, don't y'all don't fucking come bring this back here. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
great. I'm thriving. Just as I thought I would as a rich entitled asshole. You
Yeah.
know.
How could he not thrive?
I continue to feel bad for Helen because you have just this sequential just shitting on her. When you have her having the conversation with Julie in the car before she drops Helen off, and saying like,
Which
well, maybe he wanted to die. I don't know, or just trying to find some sort of like, I don't know, trying to find some
mm,
semblance of just peace of mind in this awful situation. And Julie just like fucking shrugs her off, being like, whatever makes you feel, whatever helps you fucking sleep, you fucking idiot, and this and this and this. And Helen's just like I miss you. I miss us,
yeah.
like and Julie's just not really having it.
Yeah, I like this conversation. I think it's probably the best conversation between two of the main characters that happens in the movie because it feels
Mhm.
very real, like the way that Helen like says that she misses her, even though Julie does not reciprocate and is just very cold to her. Like, I mean, she did go along with the plan pretty quickly too, so I get why she's mad, but like it's been a year. Calm down.
Yeah. And you go from this conversation to her walking in her house, and then you see this snapshot of her home life. Dad just fucking ignoring her, just being an asshole. She just kind of shrugs, you
Hmm.
know. Of course, the fisherman's in the house too. Um,
Yeah.
and then Elsa's like, "Hey, I need you to work early tomorrow," and she's
Mhm.
like, "Well, I've got to be at the fucking thing." Like literally the last bit of what my former life was. It's like I need to be at this
Hmm.
parade. I need
Handing it
to,
over.
and Elsa is just laying into like the fucking washed up has been bullshit.
Oh.
So
You and your hair, the way that she like makes fun of. I'm like, oh, so she likes to brush her hair. That's a problem,
yeah,
Elsa. You're what a hater. She
I
really is.
know. And then she gets all of her hair chopped off by the fisherman. And you're
Oh
like,
my
and
gosh.
that is clumps of hair coming off. Good on him for being able to do that.
Her hair was like what, like down to like mid lower back almost. Like it was like mid back, and then afterwards it's like right at her shoulders. So he really went to town, and because of this movie, that is like one of my greatest fears is that someone would cut my hair in my sleep.
Mm,
That really scarred me. Um, but also it's the like the same thing with Creep, that
mhm.
fear of like someone was in your room. Like he was did he like sedate her? Because that is a lot of hair to be cut off in your sleep. Like one little strand you could get away with, but like he did the whole thing.
And if I were them, like I just wouldn't be sleeping right now. I'd be like, fuck,
No,
this
stay
is
up. Give yourself a Nightmare on Elm Street situation. Start taking caffeine pills and shit.
100%.
Absolutely.
But not like Jesse Spanos take caffeine pills because that's when they're abused.
Yes.
So she wakes up and again all the hair chopped off. Um so it says soon
Hmm.
on the window. And then she just immediately smashes that fucker. She's like, no,
Oof, with
thank
her
you.
hand.
Ooh, I
Oof.
know. I'm like, watch yourself. And then also like that's a nice mirror. Like it's expensive. That was part like it looks like that was like built into
Like, yeah, it's part of the dresser for
the
sure.
vanity or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
dresser.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
how do you that costs a lot to
Yeah.
So she calls Julie. Julie comes over. By that point, Barry is already there.
Hmm.
But before Julie drives over, she starts hearing a little clickety clack clack clack, little little tap tap tap.
Little crabby feet.
Yeah, little crabby clickety clacky in the
Uh-huh.
back. She's like, oh, what is this? What is going on? Something literally smells fishy. Um, I'm gonna pull over. And I did think this was pretty good. Opening the trunk and then just finding poor Max, just with the crabs and shit crawling out
Oh,
of his
coming out of his
mouth and shit.
mouth. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, do we think this was a hallucination or like this actually happened and he just had a whole plan of how he was going to clean up this trunk real quick?
I think it happened, even though it really can't explain like how he was able to do that in broad daylight so quickly, like getting the crabs and his body out and leaving
Yeah,
like no semblance. Like you detailed the inside of that truck or that trunk
it was so clean.
afterwards. Yeah.
And like you'd be able to smell the fishiness of the crabs.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever
Like,
like been in any situation where there's fish or crabs or any like sea creatures? They smell like the fucking fishy ass ocean. Like it's you'd notice it. So that felt a little silly to me, but it's a fun little find for her.
but I do like how, so they go or she goes to Helen's place and they go back to Julie's car. And of course, none of it's there, right, anymore. And again, that's what I'm like, even still in this movie, Barry's like, I don't know, are you sure that's what happened? Like, I don't know, like crabs show up in trunks all the time,
Yeah,
Julie,
he's very skeptical. I would believe her.
And you're like, okay, dude, clearly all the shit is happening now. Like you got hit by a fucking car.
Yeah, I'm
Like
not making
let
this shit up for attention.
let's go ahead and just believe that, yeah, probably someone's doing some also fucked up shit and Max is
Hmm.
probably dead.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I think they cut back over to Helen's before going to find Ray.
Hmm.
Um, and then I don't know if anything happens back at Helen's place. It's that important to bring up, but they do swing back over to Ray's. And this is kind of a funny thing where Ray's like, guys, I got a letter.
See, you're good. See, it's your Ray is good.
I don't know if it's that good. Thank you though. Um, oh yeah. Oh, and I'm sorry. Oh my geez. Oh, pause, rewind. And then we get the what are you waiting for moment. Um,
Oh yeah.
do you know the story behind this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. It's like where like a child came up with this
Uh-huh.
and it was part of a contest. And the child was like, here's what I see going on. Give me the notes. Tell me what's going on. This child being told, like, okay, so there was a crab body in the car. Now the crab body's gone. And how do you how do you see
How would you
this?
respond to that?
How would you respond to this? Okay. And then he just puts pen to paper. It just goes, right?
Yeah. And it's one of the most like famous scenes in in like a slasher movie ever. But I think it's really funny that that kid would go towards like a confrontational response. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you waiting for? Come at me.
And I wouldn't say famous as much as infamous. Maybe
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scene's made fun of quite a bit.
It
Um,
is. And I want to say that part of that, like, because one, it's like super over the top, but also
Yeah.
like that top that they put Jennifer Love Hewitt in, and then they're like, okay, now go run down the street, run around in circles and bounce around and yell out, what are you waiting for?
Try
Like,
that pervy little kid's idea too. It was just like, you need to be wearing less in this scene. I need you
I want her to
full.
jump rope while she's while she's
Yeah.
delivering the line.
Just this, what are you waiting for? We need a crane shot that goes sees right from the top. That's the view I want. Action. And this kid, I like industry legend award, maybe.
Sure. Why the fuck not?
Yeah. So they go to Ray's. Again, this is also really funny where he's like, I got a letter. Fucking
I love
Barry just
Barry's response.
Barry just fucking socks him. And like, and what does Barry say? Is like he's like, saying like, oh, you got a letter, huh? I get hit by a fucking car. Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in a trunk. Oh, okay, that's balanced.
Yeah.
Just the way he says it is really funny.
That might be Barry's best lines in that moment.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Um, so they've got their plan that they're sorting out. Um, Ray wants no part in this. He's like, why? He's like, I don't know why we need to be driving this person out. I'm not going anywhere. Julie's gonna go back to Missy's, and
Hmm.
then Helen's got to go to this parade.
The only reason why Ray didn't want to be involved is because he knows Missy. She would have
Yeah,
recognized him immediately. So he's acting fucking suspicious.
right. So good on Helen for, because at this point, like, how, like, from that point until when the Croker Festival parade and all of that shit is,
Mhm.
like, and then also how many parades happen throughout the day? Because there's the day parade, and then there's also, or is that the same parade that's
I
still
think it's the
going?
same parade.
No, that can't be right. Where she just steps off the parade,
See,
and then the parade just keeps circling around. Like, how big of a town is it? How long can that parade go?
I mean, I guess it could be two parades, but that seems really excessive to have more than one parade in one day.
How do you expect people to come back for a second parade? That's wild.
Yeah, like I'm not even going to the first parade. So for you to expect me to be at a second one, I don't think so.
And the fact that Helen is able to, like, this is a small town, right? Southport, and it's a holiday. What salon is open and able to cut her hair on that short a notice like that? I mean, if anything, I guess she's a local celebrity. She's the Croaker Queen. So if salon's going to open for anybody, maybe her, but
If she cares
right.
that much about her hair, she probably has someone that she very much trusts that she could be like, that she could call and be like, this is a fucking emergency. Like, I need you to cancel whatever appointment you have and take me instead. Like, there are
And then she
people who have
goes,
that relationship with their hairdressers for sure.
oh, and then she goes to the salon, and then she's sitting in the chair, and she's like, these scissors feel familiar. And she looks, and like with all of her like cutting shears, just sees a hook. No.
I was just thinking, how do you explain that to your hairdresser? She'd be like, girl, what
What
the
did
fuck
you do?
happened? Like, did you have like some sort of like crisis? Like what happened? She probably had to make up a whole story.
See, and that's that, and so we're spending all this time on all this, you know, mystery missy shit where like I need to see
I want to
how
see the
that
hair. I want to
hairdresser.
see the hair salon situation too.
Yeah. I'd be like, what the fuck happened? Are you like
Are you
you're a
okay?
child? Are you okay? Like you are like a teenager
I'd be
and
like, did you
you
do
like
this to yourself? Like, and why is your hand cut? Like,
yeah.
what
So
is
um
that blood? No, that's lipstick. Someone wrote a note on my mirror.
yeah. So they grab so they know that David Egan graduated the same year as Elsa. So they grab one of
Mhm.
Elsa's yearbooks and they're like, okay, Billy Blue must be some different name. Maybe Elsa or maybe fucking Missy can tell us who Billy Blue is. Ray's
Mhm.
just like, "Ugh, I'm not doing
Yeah.
this. I'm gonna go and just be suspicious somewhere else. While the others are at this parade. Now, I was saying this is like really the it's kind of sad because this is really the only moment really of kind of sweetness between Barry and Helen.
Oh, I know. That's what makes it more heartbreaking. I do think this movie does a really good job of making you feel really sad for Helen especially,
Yeah.
but just for these two in particular, like just their lives are so depressing.
I know when the last thing he says is like, I'm never, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. And you're like, oh, both are gonna be dead in like
Yeah, you're both
an
fucked.
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez. This scene, which, as much as this movie gets some unfair strays for like ripping off like Scream, um, if anyone listening to this has seen the movie Thanksgiving from Eli Roth, Eli Roth rips off this very, very hard
Hmm.
with that Thanksgiving parade scene. So it's I'm like, hey, he's now we are the giants that people are ripping off of now, So I hope that the creators behind I Know What You Did Last Summer feel that homage. I don't know. They're like, now we're the ones being
We're
ripped
the
off of.
ones.
Ha, we're the ones. So but this is like a pretty effective scene. I like this where you see, yeah,
Hmm.
it's a fishing town. Like Ray said earlier, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a fishing town, dude. Everyone's gonna be walking around because they're dressed like fishermen because there's fucking fishermen, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, and you're just gonna get that shit daily, not like just, the John Carver situation.
Yeah. And at this parade, like, I mean, you'd presume that like there would be fishermen that are already like nearby that would just kind of like pull up and be like, yeah, I'm already
Yeah, just
in the neighborhood. I watched parade number one and two.
I've been fishing around and I'm just here to, just kind of take in the moment, take in the joy of this community event. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, the Seek is a lonely place, Natalie, and I think that it's not just to celebrate Independence Day, but it's also, just to provide some camaraderie for lonely fishermen,
Sure.
you know? Yeah. There's lonely sailors. It's like that song Brandy, not to be confused with Brandy, who ends up in the second I Still Know What You Did Last Summer situation.
Yeah.
But
I know which song you're talking about.
yeah, when I think of that town in that silent town, she's walking around in the last verse. I think of this town from
Oh,
I Know What You
really?
Did Last
Oh, that's
Summer.
great.
That's the picture I have in my head of this lonely bartender walking down the streets and just with the croaker parade, streamers and shit going on. So that's a weird rewiring.
Hmm.
Um, so meanwhile, Julie is back at Missy's. And now just being really pushy and admits pretty quickly, like, yeah, no, we killed him. We killed David,
Yeah.
you know.
She really went out on a limb, like outside of the group and just shared this information. Like,
Ugh.
I'd be fucking furious with her. Now I'd be choking her out.
Yeah, be like, we made a fucking pact. If anything, like,
We
look,
said
you
to the
you
grave. Do you not
yeah.
understand?
So now I need to take you to yours,
I was gonna say now
unfortunately.
we need to put you into the grave.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Um, she says like, no, like you did, and then even good on Missy because Missy's just like, no, you didn't. He killed himself. Like, I've
Mhm.
got a note. Let me show you my note. And then the note is
She
definitely,
just has it
you know,
handy.
yeah. I did like she was like, oh yeah, oh no, 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 definitely did not tell insurance that he killed himself. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but which I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah.
And now it turns out
Okay.
she didn't really have to lie, right? So
Yeah.
So
That's
I hope she's
sad but
feeling
true.
some I hope she's feeling some peace of mind.
She did not give a shit about fucking over the insurance company. Would you?
No.
No, fuck them.
No.
Take all their
100%.
money.
Yeah. So yeah, this whole conversation, she's like, "Can you help me find who Billy Blue is?" And she's like, "Why the fuck do you want to know? Now you're making me uncomfortable. Now you need to get the fuck out of here." Julie escapes or at least at this point, fuck, I'm totally blanking. Like, again, this fucking dumb movie.
Well, because it's
Um,
going, I think it's like it's going back and forth between the situation with Barry and Helen and what's going on with Julie. And Ray is just MIA.
right. So she doesn't, I don't remember if she gets a whole lot of new information because she doesn't put the Ben Willis thing together yet either. Other than,
Mm-mm.
she learns that it at this point, then maybe it wasn't David Egan that they killed because, she even mentions like, no, he had a tattoo of Susie,
Mm-hmm.
and Missy's like, he never had a fucking tattoo. Like, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck? So maybe this is when it's setting in for Julie, like, maybe maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about or what I'm
Yeah.
doing, and I need to just stop doing this.
Yeah,
But
Detective Julie. Maybe you should have told the cops from the beginning.
yeah, 100%. So again, it keeps kind of going back and forth. Now we're at the Croaker Queen talent show. And yeah, again, just poor, just poor fucking Helen through all of
Why did
this.
they make her sit on the stage during the talent competition?
Did they do that? Well, I guess they didn't
So
show the talent
awkward.
part last time, I
No, but
guess. So you didn't see.
that's so awkward that you'd have to like just sit there and watch them and like the crowd has to like see your facial expressions.
And she's
Yeah.
like the judge, right?
I guess so, but I mean she should be sitting in front of the stage. Like that's kind of a weird view.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like if I'm just like this woman, like, singing this song, I'm like having to just perform for this 19-year-old and win her affections. I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life right
Yeah.
now? I guess there aren't a whole lot of options, for I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And like
Small
we don't
town.
know what the prize is for this pageant either. Maybe it's a cash prize.
Yeah, you only fucking like fucking $5 million. Just like here you go, Cricket Queen.
Right. That's that's excessive.
I like that. So we've got Barry, this is, and then again, kind of just mirroring the beginning of the movie. We've got then just Barry at least alone this time, on
Hmm.
top of this balcony.
And they're
Um,
so cute. They're like having like little smiles and laughs like back and forth to each other.
Man, won't last for long, will it?
Mm-mm.
Ben will it? Um, because fucking he's creeping right up, right up behind Barry. And this is when Barry dies. And Barry does not put up a fight like at all.
No, he does not.
She reacts appropriately. She points and screams. She's like, I do not care about this fucking lady's song. I was looking for a reason to shut this down because holy God, this is terrible. So at least now I've got a reason to fucking just break this up. And Barry's getting murdered up top. Um, Ultimately, you've got the entire crowd that goes and just starts like holding her back.
No, who
And I'm
would
just
do
like,
that? Would you be a part of that? Like if this girl was like freaking out saying that someone was being murdered up on the balcony, like be like, "Whoa," like pushing her?
I would be in the fucking parking lot already, getting
Yeah,
the
you'd be
fuck
like, "I'm
out of
out.
there.
I'm out."
No, and I'd be like, what am I even doing here?
Why am
I
I
don't know.
watching this 40-year-old woman sing to this
Yeah.
19-year-old?
So, Barry's dead, the first of our core four. Um,
Mm. Yeah, very, very off screen too, which is annoying.
yeah.
That makes me sad.
You do feel those like grunts and like the hook going in a little bit.
That's true, yeah.
So she's contained downstairs. This is when fucking his dumbass fucking sheriff or cop or whoever the fuck is.
Oh,
Um, I
fuck
know.
this guy.
He's like, I know. They go up there and she's like, Barry was here. And he's just like, Barry, man, fisherman who? Barry who?
Yeah, Barry doesn't
What?
exist, obviously, because I've never met him.
Yeah, but a lot of people probably named Barry. Look, come on. He's probably a fisherman too. I don't know. And and then just he's like, well, I'm gonna take you home. We've kind of ruined this night. And I just
You've
love,
ruined the pageant.
and then the pageant like host or
Oh,
coordinator
yeah.
then has to take the crown from her. It's like the last thing. She's
He's like,
just
we're gonna need
yeah.
that.
And she is like literally this is like the last of it. Like she is completely, I
It's
don't know,
literally the end of her life. How sad.
any semblance of her life is gone. And then now she's now we're this kind of goes back and forth. Two important things happen here. Um Helen is now being transported in the back of this cop car.
Hmm.
Um, because of the parade, they can't take the main streets, so they got to cut through the alley. And guess who's in that fucking alley?
That fucking fisherman.
Yeah. So the cop gets out, gets killed very, very quickly. She's of
She
course
does throw him some pretty good insults though.
she does,
Yeah. So good for her.
but also admits like, okay, I know this sounds pretty wild. I get it,
Yeah.
but you are going. It's a little dramatic to say you're gonna fucking burn in hell for ignoring this or whatever. And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
maybe he will.
I don't know. I'm like, I've heard stories of cops ignoring more and being and
And maybe
seeming
they'll
living
burn in
just
hell
fine.
too.
Maybe. Um, so this death was pretty good as far as see now. I mean, I don't know. This is where now Scream 2 then copies this because you've got your locked in the back of a cop car situation.
Mhm.
Now, don't know why fucking Sydney and Hallie went the whole complicated route of like going through the front and through the grate, climbing over fucking Ghostface and out the window. Helen's like, no, take my fucking heel and just smash out the fucking window and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she did a good job. I mean, presumably they would have been like filmed around the same time.
Yeah,
So, I think it was a weird coincidence.
probably not. Sarah Michelle Gellar, well, one, Kevin Williamson wrote both, and then Sarah Michelle
Oh,
Gellar
she's
is like,
in
ooh, you know
Scream
what's
too.
happening? You know what's happening over at this movie? I had this whole situation starts in a cop car, but I'm stuck in the cop car because it's locked because you think you're safe with the cop, but uh-oh, now you're in a fucking trap. You know, same situation. And then Kevin Williams like, oh yeah, I did come up with that, huh? Let's see if anybody notices again.
Let's write it twice.
Yeah, loves it. So in the meantime, Julie is finding out, oh, okay, I shouldn't be looking into the family of David Egan. I should be looking into the family of Susie Willis,
Hmm.
survived by, well, at least we know so far, her father, Ben
Hmm.
Willis, who is a fisherman, which they include in that news blurb. And then
Yep.
also like she's like, oh, because he's a fisherman. That's why he wears the fisherman shit. That's but I'm like, again, as much as I like that aesthetic, it makes even less sense because
If you're
he's
actually a
one,
fisherman,
yeah, he's just
you're
walking around in
implicating
his work
yourself.
clothes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just it's like just like if you work at McDonald's, you're just like walking around in your McDonald's uniform killing people. It's like, oh, clearly it's a
And
someone who works at McDonald's.
what if he runs into someone he knows and they're like, "Oh, hey, Ben." Like while he's like stalking one of these children.
Yeah, because it's not even like he's not wearing a mask, and two, he's just wearing his
No.
normal ass shit. So it's
Yeah.
like not even a costume. So
Yeah.
he's clearly not even trying to hide anything.
Poor decision
So
making there.
100%. So Julie's realizing that it's Ben Willis that killed David Egan, or
Hmm.
that must have, and then maybe they hit Ben Willis and he's still alive. So she's like, I got to find Helen and Barry. Goes, runs to the theater. The theater is empty at this point. Um, and we start probably the best sequence of this movie.
For sure. It's
100%.
such a good chase scene. So, so
Oh,
good.
I just put in my notes. I'm like, this scene is just pretty much perfection, and I think
Yeah.
the movie rides a lot on this. So for as much as you have your goofy, like, what are you waiting for moments, like
Hmm.
this
Like peak
is
slasher.
peak slasher. This scene holds up to anything in those first Scream movies, if
Well,
not surpasses maybe all but a couple. It's
yeah. That's what's so
yeah,
frustrating. That so this scene, while it like super duper impresses me, also frustrates me because whenever I think back to this movie, I think about how I feel when I'm watching this particular chase scene instead of thinking of
mhm,
how I feel when I watch the entire movie. So it clouds my judgment because I'm like, I know what you did last summer is really good. Like it's so exciting and fun and suspenseful. And I'm like, no, this particular scene has all of those things, but the whole movie does not have that. But
no.
it's yeah, it's really fun. And you really feel so bad for Helen.
Oh, 100%. And and you're just kind of built up during the entirety of the movie so far. Like, yeah, just out of any of the characters, really just feeling for her the most. So
Hmm.
when she ultimately does not survive this chase, you're just like, fuck.
You kind of hope she's going to make it out. Like, I would have,
Yeah.
even if Helen and Julie survived,
Yeah.
that would have been great. Like, maybe Ray, you know, sacrifices himself for Julie or something.
Or
So he
maybe Ray's
gets,
in on it.
oh, yeah, I like that.
He's like in on it with Ben
I
Willis,
like
you
that.
know?
Hell yeah.
I like that too. So, but yeah, just like everything, like, so her running to the department store, and I like still every time I watch this movie, but especially, as I was a kid, like just the time it takes for Elsa to go slowly get
Oh,
those keys and come back, and you're just like, it still
clearly
feels
something's wrong, Elsa. Like, even if you fucking hate your sister, do you really want her to be attacked? Like,
right.
get your shit together. Run to those keys. Run to that door. Like, she's just taking her sweet ass time.
But Jesus, like it just feels so fucking tense. I felt
Yeah.
even this time watching my heartbeat getting faster. Like even though like I know she gets inside, but I'm just like, fuck, hurry the fuck
Hmm.
up. I just yeah, everything about the scene is just pretty perfect.
And it's very like Michael Myers of him to like, he looks like he's like walking at a regular pace while she's running.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking that whole scene with like getting the front door unlocked, the mannequins, even
Oh,
though
the covered mannequins.
how many goddamn mannequins do you need in that store? Because you have a bunch that
They're
are on
just
the
all in
show
rows. Well,
floor.
okay, well, they were doing inventory, so maybe she was like moving shit around too.
Well, and they had a shit ton of mannequins in the attic too. And I'm like, how many goddamn mannequins do you need for this fucking store?
Yeah, like are they selling that much clothing?
I guess so. Or like that's just I don't know.
Hmm.
Um,
Good point. Good point.
she sends Elsa to go lock the back door. Too late. Um, and then yeah, this is a pretty like kind of like a this kill scene is kind of like just a little bit of a whimper. Because
Yeah,
she's just kind of
it's
standing there. You have that weird kind of moment where like she realizes, oh shit, I'm fucked. This is not a safe situation. And then you get the
yeah, but anytime that that happens in movie, like I know you can argue that like the character might be in shock, but she doesn't look like she's in shock. She just looks like she's not doing anything. And the only reason why like I will accept this kill as being okay is because it's in this lovely scene. But also when she screams and then they cut back to Helen, like hearing it while she's on the phone, she looks fucking terrified. Like Sarah
yeah.
Michelle Gellar's so good. She's so, so good.
There's also a scene earlier, like as she's originally kind of running, where it's you see her running towards, the camera, and it's kind of like
Mm,
her silhouette, and then down the alley, and then you see the fisherman just kind of walking up behind her.
mhm.
Very Nightmare on Elm Street kind of,
Yeah, very true.
homage there. So I wanted to call that out too.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just yeah, everything that Sarah Michelle Gellar does is just perfect. She sells it all. Her scream is so good when she finds
Hmm.
Elsa in the bathroom,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
is really good.
Oh, and then also like the going up that lift with him like doing his fucking hook like underneath. It's all so good. I
Yeah.
love this. Like,
Yeah, she goes through so much shit just to die
uh,
anyway.
I know. And she goes through all the fucking things, gets up to the front, hops out the window, or yeah, drops out the window rather.
What a far drop too. And she gets
Yeah.
right back up. Like,
Yeah, and then just it still gets me every single fucking time when then you start hearing the band instruments, you see the fireworks.
mhm.
She is so fucking
You're like,
close,
she
but
made it.
just had to find that weird fucking tire alley.
And that
Just
pause, she just has that pause of like curiosity if he's right behind her. And that's what gets her.
geez. And she puts up, and to be fair, she puts up a better fight against him than anyone does in this movie.
Absolutely. And it's so sad that she dies in like a stack of tires. Like that smell is so awful. So that wouldn't
Mm,
be the last, like a pleasant last experience.
I don't think so either.
Mm.
So yeah, dang, Helen's dead. Our last death of the movie. Um,
But I am
Julie,
glad that Elsa got killed.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, she deserved it.
Yeah. So, um, Since Julie can't find them, she goes to find Ray and explains basically the whole situation, which I might say out loud again just to make sure I'm understanding it right,
Yeah, please
is
do.
that David Egan was engaged to Susie Willis. There was a car accident. Ben Willis, Susie's dad, held David responsible, waits until a year later, kills him. It's framed as if it's a suicide. And
Mhm.
after disposing of his body, David's body, Ben Willis is walking across the road, gets hit by our four protagonists here, and they leave him for dead, even though he's still alive. And then now he's like, now I've got this whole other thing now to get mad about and wait a year and do this again. So um, she explains all this to Ray. Ray's like, okay, come on my boat. Okay, just come over here, and it's like, okay, weirdo. And then she notices on the side of the boat, oh no, his boat is named Billy Blue. Why didn't we
Oh
look?
no.
He's Billy Blue. So has a boat named Billy Blue that he may have named himself, I don't know, or inherited
Mhm.
this. And then he went to Missy's house and called himself Billy Blue, thinking that like this is
Fucking
a real name.
moron. And he even like pointed out his boat to his friends. Like, what if
Yeah,
they were like, "Oh, let's check out the boat"? They didn't. They didn't give a shit. But
yeah,
like, he could have come up with 100 different names. Johnny
100 different names.
Valentine could have been a good one.
Yeah, yeah, Johnny Valentine. Um, so she also knows from all of this that Billy Blue is not only not the killer, but also like they didn't kill David Egan. She
Hmm.
understands this now. But
Yeah,
when she gets reminded of the Billy Blue name, she just completely
just
abandons
forgets
her,
her memories completely.
just abandons all of it. It says,
Yeah.
no, thank you. I'm running away.
Hmm.
Ray runs after her,
Of
only to
course.
get knocked out by Ben Willis, who
Hmm.
turns out is the fisherman because he knocks Ray out. He's like, get on my boat, little one," or whatever the fuck he says, little girl, or I don't know. He's in a
It
weird
doesn't matter
situation.
what he says. I would not be getting on that guy's boat.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
I'd be like, no, I'll stay here. Thanks. Like,
Yeah, just
let's call
here
the
out in the
cops.
open. Maybe
Yeah.
yeah, no, 100%. So
Yeah,
she's like,
absolutely not.
yeah, she does not really make a whole lot of correct choices
Mm-mm.
ever.
She either just lets things happen or makes bad decisions.
So she gets on the boat, goes into his little boat quarters, his captain's quarters, and then just finds all of this information. Be like, oh no, I was actually right. So I don't know why I just abandoned Ray when, oh,
Yeah,
clearly it
now
was
he's
Ben
fucked.
Willis. And now I'm on Ben Willis's fucking boat, which is named Susie or Sweet Susie or
Yeah.
something. Um,
Well, like, okay. With this
mhm,
Ben Willis situation, I know that they built this whole creative story, but again, it's
mhm,
so anticlimactic that like they've never met this character. Like
right.
he's not even posing to be someone else or something like that. There's all these great red herrings that could be like, you know, it could be this killer and they could have some crazy backstory, but instead like it's just this guy that they all don't know. I I still just I don't know. I just don't love that. I never have.
Yeah. It's it's pretty dumb and convoluted, and also demonstrated by the fact that 27 years later, we still weren't entirely sure going into this episode
But now I
what
feel
happened.
clear. I actually feel clear now. Like you've talked it through a couple times.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, no
So
problem.
thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I got you. Um, so she realizes, like, yeah, he's been keeping all these like newspaper clippings. Good thing nobody else is on this boat with him because they'd be like,
I
oh, geez,
know.
hey man, what's
Again,
what's going on?
so obvious. Yeah, why are you obsessed with these teenagers? What what is this?
And yeah, and he's like, so what are you doing here, looking all scared? You should be out drinking, partying, running over people with cars, getting away with murder. And I'm like, bro, first of all, you got away with murder first. Get the fuck out of here. You were
Yeah, a
doing the
lot of
murdering.
murders
I didn't murder anyone. Keep in mind,
because
because
you're
you're right
alive.
here standing and talking to me and you look
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, you recovered just
So
fine.
maybe you got away with assault. Would that be assault if they
Hmm.
hit him with the car and then dumped his body, or attempted murder?
Yeah,
Attempted
not even
murder.
attempted, right? Because you have to have at least some sort of like preconceived like desire or something or plan. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So if I'm Julie at this point, I'm just like, you never realize,
Fuck you.
actually, I did nothing wrong. Fuck all of you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
fuck
go
this.
thrive.
I'm gonna go swim myself back to the dock.
Yeah. So Ray gets in a little speed fisher boat or whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
Um does a little boat chase. He's able to get
I love a
onto the
boat
boat,
chase.
climb on like that. Um Julie flees and is kind of running around in the boat.
They get a
Um
lot of mileage out of this boat.
they
Like
do get a
they
lot of
make
mileage out of this boat.
a whole chase scene out of this tiny little boat.
And I was really confused on the layout of this boat because it's a pretty big boat, but I'm like, there's a lot of different like just standing room like on multiple levels in this thing.
Hmm.
Um and a whole just yeah, then the whole like ice
Like, how
swing.
deep is this boat? What is the depth
Yeah,
of it? Yeah.
I know. So Ray hops on, he's like, welcome aboard, Ray. And Ray puts up a pretty good fight. And
Yeah.
Ray is like in multiple situations, like Ray is getting the upper hand. It's
I'll
Julie
give
that
him
fucks
that.
it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does.
By poking her head out and she screams, Ray! Like, why? Why would she do
Why?
that?
But how's that going to help anything?
No, all he does is look over and then he gets fucked. I thought he was killed at this point because like he uses like the hook.
Hmm.
But yeah, so he gets knocked overboard, but don't worry, he can't fucking keep Ray down.
No.
Um, so at least for as much of a fucking dork he is, hey, at least you can't keep him down. He's gonna
That's
keep fighting that
we'll
fisherman
give
for
him
you.
that.
Yeah. So geez, this is, in the meantime, she's being chased again. This is another wonderful scene, though. I do like finding Barry and Helen in the ice.
Yes.
That's another part that I just kind of always remember in this movie is that body sliding down and then her being
No.
like, oh fuck, putting her hand down and it's on Barry's face all frozen.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would be fucking awful.
That'd be
Ugh.
fucking terrible. Um, she's able to get out of this. Ray's back on board, knocks out the fisherman, gets her out. Fisherman. This part was really funny to me. Where they knock out the fisherman. They again, like any fucking slasher movie, they never just fucking just make sure he's dead. They're just like, oh, we
Yeah.
knocked him out. That's pretty good. You
Idiots.
know, they focus on Ben Willis and the way he like opens his eyes and like wakes up. He reminds me of I don't remember the last time you saw Happy Gilmore, but when Bob Barker gets knocked down and then he like opens his eyes up like super angry. It's like the same exact way.
Yeah. Very
So
like
I
very silly.
so I can't help but laugh every time. Um that's when they have their final fight. And really, it's just the fisherman's just own clumsiness that kind of fucks him up here. A little bit of Ray, but mostly him being clumsy, getting his fucking
Yeah.
hand stuck in the thing.
Yeah, that's pretty fun though.
I like that he ultimately does lose his hand, which is pretty
Uh-huh.
good. And right, don't they find like the hand with the hook,
Yes.
too? So
It's
that's
just
pretty
hanging on
good.
a net.
Yeah, I like that. Um,
But they didn't find his body.
didn't find his body because they just throw him overboard. Who knows? Um, yeah, and then okay, there goes the fisherman for now. That kind of worked out. So you
Hmm.
have Ray and Julie as your only survivors. Um, I did think it was pretty funny, like when they're like in their embrace, and Julie's telling Ray like, "So we never actually killed anyone that whole year for nothing," and I'm just like, you did still hit a guy and dump him in the water,
Yeah,
and then
like
like let's
you
yes,
still
I
committed crime. Like that was still crime.
yeah, 100%. Um, so
And your friends are still dead as a result.
but they still don't know if Max. Well, I guess no. Yeah, they know Max is dead because they found that body, with the crabs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I wonder if like they find out afterwards, just like, oh yeah, 5 victims, and they're like, you mean Max, Barry, and Helen? And they're like, yeah. And there's that police officer, and sorry, Elsa died too. And they'd be like,
Yeah.
well,
Fuck her.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We're not as upset about that one. That's
Meanwhile,
fine.
poor Helen's dad is just left with no children.
Should have paid attention, dude. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
Obviously,
man.
something was going on.
Well, the baseball game, I guess. So I looked up to see if I could find out if some person on the internet would find out what baseball game it was that he was watching, but
Did
I
anyone?
didn't get very far in it. And
Oh.
also, I was like, I'm not gonna look. I don't care that much. Um, so, and then yeah, this is when they're like, you have any idea why this dude would try to kill you? He's like, no, no, 100, nope,
Yeah.
no
I
idea.
actually I think that is probably one of the funnier parts of this movie is the way that they're just like,
Hmm.
nope, no idea.
I
Sorry.
didn't say shit.
Yeah. All of a sudden
So
now they're really good at lying and keeping secrets. Couldn't do it this whole fucking year and this whole movie till that point.
yeah, and I like how the next year, like, because now we fast forward another year.
Oh
Um,
God, this scene.
Julie in college again, about to leave for the year.
Her hair
She's
is
on the phone
bouncy
with Ray.
again.
Hair's bouncing again. And I was like,
Got life back in her
wait,
cheeks.
so not even killing a guy, and even if you did kill a guy, it was a guy that killed another guy. So you're kind of doing the world a favor a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that happening caused you to be just in this depressive, traumatic fucking state. But having this fisherman try to kill you for revenge, killing all of your friends, and being like stalked, like
Now she's
you're just
good.
gonna, yeah, now she's good. You're gonna bounce back. Like, yeah, you survived, but
Mhm.
like, Jesus Christ, that would be even
No,
worse.
she's like glowing.
Yeah, I feel
This
like it
she
should be
just
the
needed
other
to be
way.
cleansed of her own sins and she's fucking fine. She's like, I got my boyfriend. I didn't murder someone. I wasn't friends with that bitch anyway anymore. And everybody always hated Barry.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, you're getting Deb delivering me my fucking mail while, I'm in the gym shower and shit. Um, Really nice dorm showers, by the way. I think so.
Gorgeous. It looks like
And
a spa bathroom.
yeah. So
That conversation, the conversation that they have on the phone too, like what did she say? Like you're gonna see me in 2 weeks, you can ravage me then.
yeah. Yeah, they unfortunately don't have a whole lot of chemistry, and it doesn't get a whole lot better in the second one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and we'll, like the best thing about the second one is they probably just don't keep them together a whole lot.
Smart.
Yeah, smart. They're like, yeah, these two that we clearly picked the wrong couple to survive. Now we have to save face and make how to make
Mhm.
this work. Um,
Clearly, clearly Kyle's excited about us being one step closer to talking about I still know what you did last summer.
oh,
Can't
100%.
even keep it in.
I can't. So I'm not following the Scream rules anymore. Like I'm not
No,
getting
you don't
electric
have
shocks
to.
every
You don't
time
have
I
to.
mention a sequel.
Nope.
So
I put the machine away for now.
thank you. So yeah, she goes, it gets steamy. She comes back and written on, do you ever like steam up like the mirror and like write things on it or like draw things
Always.
on it?
Well,
Yeah,
I
100%.
can't do that at home, but I do it at hotels.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. So, it says I still know, which I'm like, now you're
And
kind of
that's what I
committed.
write.
Yeah. You're yeah. You're kind of committed to calling the sequel that now. I
Yeah,
don't know if that was their plan at that time when they were filming that little extra beat at the end. But
probably not. They may
yeah,
not have known that they were going to have a sequel yet.
yeah. So then he just smashes through, which I mean, so there was glass on the back of that shower. I don't understand how any of that worked. But he
Well,
does burst out.
maybe
Uh-huh.
I'll go ahead a little bit on this since we're not following Scream rules. This is all a dream, so
Is
he can
it?
bust through that glass. Yeah, that's how they justify it in
Oh, right,
the
right, right,
second
right.
one.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because that
That
wouldn't
was a
make sense
nightmare.
otherwise. Hmm, that's dumb. So there we are. That's the end of our movie.
Yeah,
I Know What You Did Last Summer, huh?
a
Yeah.
long ass movie.
It's a long ass movie. This movie did not need to be an hour and 50 minutes long.
I feel like there's just so much they could have taken out.
Yeah, Scream movies be like, this shit can be 3, 4 hours long. That's
Oh,
okay. I don't
keep them
mind.
coming, keep them getting longer and longer. I don't give a shit. I will watch them always.
100%. Anything else you want to just any notes that you didn't get to?
No, no. I stand by wishing that Barry and Helen were still alive. I am excited that they're making another one of these movies, and I wish they would just retroactively just bring them back. Well, who
Yeah.
cares? You could just do it soap opera style. Just let them still be alive. Have all
If
four.
you're if you're already committing to like this like last bit just being like retconned as a dream,
Mm-hmm.
just call that whole thing a dream.
Yeah.
Just say, oh yeah, that whole thing, whatever. And then the movie, I don't know. Just I don't
I
think
don't know.
anybody would go for that.
No, it wouldn't make sense. It's just a thought. Um, yeah, but
Hmm.
th- this is a solid movie.
So let's talk some taglines.
You're gonna be so excited.
Oh,
This is
geez,
the
how
first
many?
one. This is the first one that we've had in a while that has a lot of taglines. It says
Ah.
12,
All right, let's
which
rapid fire for the sake of
yeah,
time.
it's there's a lot. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's
You're gonna
go.
say thumbs up, thumbs down?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a hook on them.
So dumb. Thumbs up.
Welcome to Southport, the perfect small town. But beneath the surface, there are secrets that just won't stay buried. No one got
Mm,
buried.
no one. Yeah, I mean, there is a Barry. Yeah. So no thumbs down on that one.
Okay. From the writer of Scream comes a terrifying new experience that won't die.
I'm gonna say fine. That's fine. That's a thumb
It's fine.
sideways.
Yeah.
It's an experience that won't die, like it because he won't die. The fisherman. Yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
What started as a new beginning is becoming a dead end.
No, thank you.
No,
Thumbs down.
makes no sense. The mistake they made is coming back to haunt them.
Thumbs down. Still,
It
I
sounds
like
like it's
it.
a ghost. There's no
Yeah,
ghost. Not all secrets stay buried. Again.
that no one got buried,
Uh-huh.
but I'll still give it a thumbs up.
Okay. For the last year, four friends have kept a secret.
Oh, that's it. I was waiting for like a and.
No, that is it's a secret.
I guess yeah. Why would you tell me it's a secret? Thumbs down.
Okay. Nobody saw him step out. Nobody saw them kill him. Nobody could imagine the terror to follow.
I was
I've
committed to a
already read
thumbs
these
down
and
after the
I could
first,
not.
yeah, the first few words. I was like, okay, thumbs down,
It
whatever.
doesn't
And then
flow
that,
well.
yeah, and then just end up just going and going and going. So extra
Okay.
thumbs down.
Here we go again. If you were going to bury the no one was buried. Okay. If you were going to bury the truth, make sure it stays buried.
Okay, yeah, thumbs down.
It's a thumbs down. Someone knows their secret. Someone knows they're scared. And someone knows what they did last summer.
That's fine.
Hmm.
Whatever. Thumb sideways.
Okay. This secret is about to kill them all.
Seems aggressive. Thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
And the last one.
Okay.
Someone's got a hook to wield.
That's dumb. I don't
It
get it.
is. Most of them are really dumb. Again, this is a situation where they did not watch this movie.
No.
They thought this person was buried.
I mean, generally that is what you would do.
But that's
Hmm.
not the situation at all in this movie.
I wonder if
So
someone who writes those taglines then like watches the movie, they're like, oh, bring in their family. They're like, oh, I wrote the taglines for this movie. Like, and then everyone's sitting and watching it, and they're like, oh, dang. Oh, that is nothing what I thought this was. And they let
based
me
off
put
those
that on,
taglines.
they let me put this on the poster, you know? So yeah, most of those were pretty bad, but that's okay.
Yeah, they're pretty rough. I feel like Scream did a pretty solid job with the taglines. At least the first one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So just again, this movie is just going to be forever compared just to be this lesser version
It
of
really,
a
yeah.
great movie. So that sucks.
Yeah.
Um, Boo scores. Who wants to go first? Me or you?
You go first.
Okay. This movie has a very, very special place in my heart.
Mhm.
I have watched this movie plenty. Like I said, that rotation, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend. Fuck, those so good. I would just cycle between those. Um, so this movie and its sequel, I really do hold with a lot of love. Um, I think some of the set pieces are really great.
Mhm.
Um, I think a lot of them are just pretty boring. It's pretty monotonous as well. I do ultimately like everyone in this cast. Muse Watson, whatever, you know. I'll give him a point
He's
for that
fine.
Bob Barker bounce back. Um, and but also this movie is like not fun by any means, you know. Um, so I'm gonna shoot down the middle and give it a three.
Hmm.
Three boos.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, the sequel's a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, three boos. What do you think?
Okay. Um, I agree with everything that you said. And for as so
Obviously.
for, but for as somber as this movie is, it does have high rewatchability. And maybe it's just because of those few scenes that I do love. Like it's a good movie to kind of just like have on in the background. Like I think it fits into like a comfort movie category for me.
Hmm.
But that being said, if I'm ever going to watch a slasher with someone and like want to pick out something fun to watch, this is not going to be even close to my first choice. So I hold a lot of nostalgia for it. I was teetering between a 3 and a 3.5 because I keep thinking back to Scream 3 and I'm like, is this a better movie than Scream 3?
Yeah, I think this is a better movie than Scream 3.
Yeah. Well, you gave Scream 3 a lower score, I think, than I did. So, I'm
I
gonna
think I
give it
graciously gave it a two.
and then I just think about how much I hate Julie and Ray, and
Mm,
that makes it like really, really tough. I think I'm also gonna give it a 3.
okay.
Yeah. Lot to love, but I think I blatantly said I hate this and I hate this person so many times in this episode that I feel like I can't go higher than 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Well, dang y'all. Um,
How boring. We've had the same boo score for the past one, two, three, four, five, 6 movies.
oh Jesus, really? We've landed on the same boo score? Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
So we need to find something that will shake this up a little bit.
That's all I got. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Wonderful. Dang, well, of course, everybody, let us know your thoughts. This movie is also, yeah, it's like when you talk about 90s slashers, like obviously you're always gonna have Scream in the conversation.
Hmm.
But even though I don't think it's the best of the movies of that era, this movie usually gets referenced second, so
For
it still
sure.
has an important slice. Um, it had at least one theatrical sequel, whereas like some of those, Jesus, did the second urban legend? Well, we're gonna talk and we'll get there. Um, to see, I don't even remember if that one came out in theaters. I know I certainly didn't see it in
I don't
theaters.
remember either. But
Yeah,
yeah, and we will talk about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
don't spoil it.
Well,
But
we made that decision. And
that's
if
true.
if anyone listening didn't figure out that you at some point want to talk about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, then they have not been paying close enough attention.
Hmm. I feel like I've been pretty good and haven't brought it up in a while. So,
That's true. There's been a good little you gave it some room to breathe.
thank you. So, yeah, geez, that's all I got. Curious to see. I think this movie can divide some people. I think there's some more kind of level-headed responses, like more in those 2.5s to threes, right? But some
Hmm.
people treat this as like a five boo, just right there with its contemporaries, or in Scream. Um,
Yeah.
I don't, but I do also love the shit out of this movie, and I really don't
Yeah,
want to
I agree.
undersell that. So,
I agree.
hell yeah.
And I'd still
Okay.
recommend it.
Yeah, me
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Three, two, one, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on I Know What You Did Last Summer and celebrating 50 episodes of 321 Ghost with us. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to our podcast and leave us a killer review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321 Ghost Pod and give us a follow. We're very active on Instagram and would love to hear from you in the comments. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us chat about. Next week, we're getting gross with Slither. Thanks again for listening. And remember not to spend your whole summer sitting inside listening to podcasts. You should be out having fun, drinking, partying, running people over, getting away with murder, things like that. 3, 2, 1, ghost.